guys, gals, and non-binary pals, and welcome into the SPL Week 3, Day 3 on the road to Worlds. It's Gore and it's Mifflin as we jump into what I'm going to be interested in today, because we're starting off, Warriors, Gladiators. We're going to have the Hounds playing the Dragons a little bit later. A lot of fun stuff, I think, to be had, and it's been a pretty fun week already. And that being said, I mean, we got, what, 4-gamer yesterday afternoon, 5-gamer the night before. Kind of surprised to see a couple of just 0-3s for the Kings. And, of course, if you're wondering what I'm talking about, well, we can just show you over the week what has gone on. The Warriors already had one matchup this week. It was a 3-0 over the Kings. Now they're going to be coming in for their doubleheader up against the Gladiators. The Dragons then lost 3-2, I guess 2-3, to the Ferrymen. And they're going to be coming in for their doubleheader a little bit later, trying to take on the Hounds. Both of those teams, luckily enough, only had one team to prepare for, so we'll see what they have to offer for us. Yesterday, I think, was a very action-packed day as well. Some crazy things ended up happening. But the thing that I think has stood out the most, Ferrymen undefeated, and still the only undefeated team. Hounds, Gladiators looking for their first wins. And for the Dragons, trying to either knock up another win there and kind of solidify themselves in third for a little while, or the Warriors take a even further leap ahead, if possible, in their standings. And so, Mifflin, if we look maybe specifically at this first one, Warriors, Gladiators, top, bottom in the Chaos Division. In division matchups, you play each other twice. It's going to be the first time that they go head-to-head. But what kind of things immediately are on your mind when you see a matchup like this?
Ooh, I'm wondering if the ICU is open today, whether or not urgent care is willing to see people on short notice, things along those lines. No, I mean, it's going to be a tough matchup for the Gilded Gladiators. Yeah. There's really no other way to cut it. I feel like maybe the Gilded Gladiators could shift their goalposts a little bit. It's the Oni Warriors, right? Are you going to win the set? Maybe not, but you could definitely take some games, see some improvement, prove that you've had some adaptation in God Pool. And I think God Pools are a great place to look, considering, in particular, the Gilded Gladiators mid laner it left me a little bit wanting in the God selection.
I know that's been a pretty big conversation, I think, across the entirety for the Gladiators, right? There's a lot of talk. People will point fingers, who is it, where is it? Did picking up Jake and Kana change too much? A lot of people, like he said, have been looking towards mid lane. Some of the picks would have been going on. And that, of course, is Snoopy, who's right there on your screen. We got to sit down with Snoopy a little bit earlier this week and get his thoughts on the matchup.
I feel like we had a little bit of a rough showing this weekend. It's still kind of tough adding 2 new players in to really find our rhythm. It seems that we're kind of... some people are going in, some people are not, and it just really is hard to find the exact time that we want to do things together. So I think that's been really tough to overcome, but I think with more practice and more weeks, we should be fine. I think our front line, if they get on the same page going forward, I think it's going to be a lot better. And Stu and I have been working really hard to try to stay together and be one unit in the back line as opposed to 2 separate entities. So if we keep those together and then Kyrmi can kind of bounce back between both, I think we'll be a lot stronger. My opinion of the Onis has not changed at all. I mean, everybody has their off days and everybody has their on days. They might have been playing against a team that was just really on that week and they were maybe off a little bit. It's regular season, that's how it is. And as long as they bring it towards the playoffs and the Worlds, I think they're really formidable. But I think there's still 5 really strong players, and I think if they get a lead, they can run away with it. So I think that's going to be the one thing that we try to do against them, is not give them that early lead. Really try to take it to a kind of mid to late game kind of game and try to win from there.
I think that's an interesting sentiment to end that on, the discussion of take it to a mid to late game, because what we've seen strength-wise in the Gladiators has not been the mid to late, it's been the early to mid. Being able to get some of those early leads, scrap a little more, get Kyrmi active, they get a little more hands-on, but Mifflin, it's usually around that mid-game point where we have been seeing maybe the lack of consistent calls. I mean, hell, we went into a listen-in with them last week. Fight happened, I think Kyrmi was calling it, died, and then their comms were silent. And it just kind of had that moment of, in the late game, that showcases a falling apart maybe inside internally that can't be there.
Yeah, I think immediately after Kyrmi's death, I believe it was Snoopy who says, "What do we do? What do we do? What do we do?" And then it's silence.
Nothing. Yeah.
Radio silence after that. Tough stuff from them, but surely something they could work on between now and then. Figuring out consistent shot callers, always going to be a hard task for a team that's essentially cobbled together. coming into this phase. A lot of new players, as Snoopy alludes to. New front line. Feels like those guys are your first point of contact, so you really want them a little bit more vocal and letting you know exactly who they can set you up for, or who they are hitting with their CC, or who they can keep out of the team fight. So communication rolling needs to be important, but it is worth noting again that Jake's never been a player exactly known for his communication either.
And that's something that we had kind of actually touched on a lot. If you roll back the clips to when we first saw this Warriors draft at the beginning of the year, when they still had Jake, all of us were just kind of flabbergasted, like, okay, so who's the guy who's calling for anything? And as we learned, there were more consistent voices, right? Pegon, who had been a little quieter when he played with the Dragons, suddenly stepping up, being a lot more vocal. You got a little more out of Sod, a lot more, out of Netrioid, things like that. And now that they've got genetics, you've definitely got that pure just shot caller. Here's the guy late game, as he has come out and said, who's going to be able to pick up and get his voice heard. But you have, or at least we have, not noticed as much of that for the Gladiators. And so that's kind of where I think we're going to be looking. A lot of their objective control, their pace of game, especially against a team like the Warriors. It's going to be pretty dramatic, and it's going to be necessary in mid more than anything. I mean, you can talk about the long lane. Genetics just played honor support, so like there's something like Jake can match that weird energy.
I don't know if he's doing it like that, though.
No, he's not in most circumstances. But in mid, we saw some Raijin, we saw some Set. If you flip over and look at Pegon, you've got a lot you've got to contend with in mid, and sometimes the jugglers aren't going to be there to help you out.
I mean, just looking at Pegon's God Pool in the last 6 games as opposed to Snoopy, from Pegon, we've seen Chernobog, Raijin, Pele, Set. Nobody's batting an eye at any of those picks. Those are all high-pressure picks, highly contested picks, things that every mid laner in the league would love to play on any given match because of how much pressure it can afford your team and how well it scales in the late game. And then I look over at Snoopy in his last 6 games, and I'm seeing a lot of Yu Huang. And I'm not seeing anybody else playing Yu Huang. And I'm knowing that Yu Huang's got, 3 games played so far this phase, all Snoopy, all losses. Whether or not he wants to continue to go towards that pick, I had the opportunity to talk to him a bit about it. He had said, look, it's something that can really handle the assassin mids well. It feels like I can play safe while still getting magical damage out there, still being impactful in the team fight. We haven't seen it just yet, so results-oriented analysis, I got to say it's not looking so good, but if he thinks that it's something that can work with the team and the team tends to agree, I'd love to see what a good Yu Huang game looks like for the Gilded Gladiators. But up against the Oni Warriors, I'm just not sure you're going to be allowed to get to that late game with the Yu Huang. I know that the Gladiators said they want to take it to the Warriors in that mid to late game, but the Warriors are really good at the late game now. Their early game objective play has gotten a lot better. I would say maybe that early game level of dominance that we saw from Phase 1 Warriors isn't quite as there, but they've really brought up other points of their game. Like the late game is so much better now from the Oni Warriors here in Phase 2.
I'll say eye-opening. Some things, when we throw the numbers up there, it's easy to, average damage you could probably glance at, and if the number is wide enough, or at least there's a big gap, it maybe says something. But GPM, 90 more gold per minute overall for Pegon, shows like where the farm for the Warriors is and just how strong that is. But I also was looking at the kills, I guess just KD overall. 3 less deaths for Pegon and almost 40 more kills on the board, right? So more active, kind of matches with what we've expected out of the Warriors. Very aggressive team, very in your face. And so we know where a lot of that's going to be. But that, for Snoopy in this case, also means that you've got to be a little bit worried, because if that pressure is coming from mid, guess what you're going to be dealing with this set? It's going to be Pegon.
Yeah, fortunately for him, though, Snoopy seems to think Yu Huang is the answer to that. Has some safety in that pick. The Celestial Flight, of course.
Just go up in the air and just
go up in the air and say, hey, man,
out.
I'm basically Aegis, and when I land, I'll be literally Aegis, and barring that, I still have CC immunity ultimate, so certainly something you can keep your eyes on. I think, in particular, that mid lane matchup, something I want to keep my eyes on for sure. Pegon has had some rougher games as of recent. Feels like he's taken a backseat in some of the pressure. I'm remembering that Pele match up against the Leviathans. Not exactly the best look there. The set performances haven't been exactly there either. So maybe Pegon tries to lean a little bit more so into that standard mage god pool, which is something he's very capable of doing. Or this could be a resurgence, a small renaissance for Pegon in this matchup. Says, look, I know my pressure assassins haven't looked so good in our last set, but I think it can look good here today. It'd be a great heat check for him. One to get some of that confidence back as well.
The one thing I think that was interesting is you know, we've talked about it with them and about them and around them. The win streak, right, from Phase 1. And the mentality shift that can kind of have on a team. So knowing that you're capable of that is one thing, which I think is actually good for the Warriors, and knowing that they're able to. But I feel like mentally, and maybe more specifically from Genetics' perspective, maybe as well as Oxy's, right, coming in from the coach, losses are going to be healthy in the regular season and maybe more helpful for them in the long term. And so I'm really interested to see how they take a matchup like this, where they do, I mean, for all intents and purposes, just have the favored odds, right? And you are coming in as the stronger team. You are favored to win. Most people, if they're putting money on it, would be putting it on a 3-0, right? And thinking that you're going to come in and have that kind of strength. And so what kind of things does this team do in a matchup like that? And more specifically, when the Gladiators are that kind of squad that catches teams that are too comfortable off guard, how exactly they're able to adapt to it. Because I feel like that's where we've seen some of the strengths. I mean, go back to the Dragon set, right? In the very first week, they get a nice 2-0, they're coasting, Mike locks in a Giannis support, and the Gladiators go, okay, yeah, but, like, you can't clown us that hard, right? Like, we're going to be able to push it. And that game, admittedly, was maybe closer than they would like, but they won that one and pushed the Dragons to 5. That's the kind of Gladiators we want to see. So we'll see if they have it here. Warriors, in Game 1, will be the first pick, and immediately off the board, it's going to be Freya. And I know, Chernobog, pretty high up there on priority for the Warriors.
Numero uno.
And so, whether, I don't assume they're going to ban it, I would have to bet the Gladiators need to get rid of it.
You know, I'm actually glad that you bring up that the Gilded Gladiators in the past have been the team to catch these overconfident squads off guard, right? It's something we've seen from them consistently. And I would say, you'd think with some of the changes to the Oni Warriors roster, now bringing Genetics in, you think, oh, you know, he's a very serious guy, loves winning, hates losing, really does like to keep the maybe SOT or Pegon when they're having some goofier games, wants to keep them in order. But also, Genetics is the type of dude who's going to throw in an on her support when he's up against the king. So if he's feeling that confident there, maybe the Oni Warriors try and flex around a little bit with their god pools, have some more off-kilter selections, play around a bit, see if they can add something real to the repertoire, but in a lower stakes setting. Could be an opportunity for the Gilded Gladiators to do exactly what they've done in the past.
And what's so weird about that on her support game is that Genetics wasn't the one who looked bad. I mean,
No, he looked good.
It was Sot and Pegon, whenever they were together on the right-hand side of the map, almost always overextending, going a little too deep. Like, I feel like Genetics, somebody had to come in and kind of dad voice separate them, because eventually we saw Sot on left, Pegon on right. Oof. And that's where we got to see the big difference maker. Catch up on the bans. Freya, Ares, and Pele were the options for the Warriors. Gladiators, Yamoja, Athena, Amaterasu, which leaves open the Chernobog, immediately locked in for the Warriors, and answered back by Hades, Olorun for the Gladiators.
It's a really strong combo of ultimates already for the Gilded Gladiators. Pillars of Agony and a Sanctified Field. What are you going to do about it? Cry. Maybe jump into a
Hope
shadow
that your
in the
beads
wall.
work.
Beads got to work. Find a self-banish. Do something along those lines. But the thing with Olorun, and I always say this about Olorun, is that he is, and I know it's a bit of a non-sequitur, non-statement, but best from ahead so that you can play the defensive position. If you're defending a Phoenix or a Tier 2, great. Olorun Ultimate's always going to find value. But if you have to use it to aggressively close space into a Fire Giant, into a Gold Fury, sieging even can be pretty difficult to utilize that ultimate on too. You have to keep your eyes on it and see whether or not the Gilded Gladiators can get to those objectives first. And I think speed of play and speed of grouping on objective has been an issue for the Gilded Gladiators in the past. You really need to be on top of that to fully leverage this Olorun. Whereas the Oni Warriors get Chernobog, and all you need to do to leverage Chernobog is be as far away from the fight as possible and then immediately be in the fight.
Press 4 sometimes, and it'll get you there. The other thing that's good about Chernobog is it's pretty ambiguous. The Warriors have played it in mid and carry. That being said, with Set and Soul, Soul we've seen in mid and carry. Set we've seen in mid carry jungle and solo.
It's Set jungle for sure.
You're feeling it for Panitom?
I think so. With Soul locked in, that's your ADC, your duo lane. I think it's going to be Chernobog mid. We know Pegon's played it recently. So the only thing that makes sense to me is Set in the jungle from this position. That's not to say that they can't get a little crazy and there is a little bit of flexibility.
It's Set support.
But let's analyze what's there it's 0 CC. We've got literally no lockdown right now for the Oni Warriors. So the Gilded Gladiators, I think, correct to ban the Khepri, deal with some of that dive potential that Chernobog and Set are going to give you. But I want to see them get rid of maybe Terra comes to mind, or just anything that could start up your fight so easily, or join up on that dive. Maybe even put some eyes towards some of those standard warriors. Haven't seen it recently from SOT, but maybe Hercules could fit this draft pretty well. Things along those lines.
Bans in the second phase: Khepri, Cerberus. Honestly, Cerberus is an interesting one because with Hades locked in, assuming he goes to solo,
Thor's good too.
Cerberus has been kind of half and half, mostly in solo, but kind of sprinkled back and forth. Sobek as well is going to join him from the Warriors, and like you said, Thor banned out by the Gladiators. And so trying to limit CC with the Khepri and the Thor, trying to limit some of the control. But we have learned in the past, and this is something Genetics brings that is very helpful, is his God pool is the deepest of the deep. I mean, he could reach into the dredges of the ocean and pull out something that you haven't played in a while. And so I don't think I'm too worried about his man. Surtr gets locked in for the Gladiators. And with Camazotz here, Myth, and Hades here, I gotta ask where some of these are going on the Gladiators.
Right. And you're doing a great job in doing the asking, and I'm failing you in not having the answers.
If it makes you feel better, I also don't have any inclination to the answer. I mean,
it's got to be Camazotz jungle. I mean,
would you do Hades mid, Surtr solo then? Surtr support? No way. Is it Surtr
it's not
support?
Surtr support. Is it Camazotz solo Surtr jungle Hades mid? I don't love Hades mid.
Do you like Camazotz mid?
I like Camazotz mid more than I like Hades mid. I think so. Any assassin that has an ability that can pierce the wave and has the opportunity to build Soul Eater, I think just fits in mid. You could just do it.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't hate that. Yeah, I think Camazotz mid, Hades solo, Surtr jungle, probably the best allocation of some of these pieces. But even then, not a massive fan of how that one's going to play in the team fight until the Olorun and Hades are able to get together. That's essentially the crux, the keystone of the Gilded Gladiators team fight. Whereas on the other side, the Oni Warriors, I mean, we're still not getting the greatest answers here. Not exactly.
I bet
okay.
Genetics is playing Ganesha.
I think that's fair.
I feel like I could ride on that and survive. Like that feels like it's right.
Do you think it's Erlang, solo, set jungle, soul ADC, Chernobog mid? I think that's probably just correct.
I think Ganesh support, soul with him in lane as the carry. Erlang jungle.
Really?
Set mid, Cherno solo.
Ooh, Sot's been playing a lot of Chernobog on his stream.
He did it, was that last year? Maybe it was earlier this year. He every now and then he just lock in Cherno.
Yeah, I mean, it's got the same global presence as like something like a Thor, even better global presence. Decent scaling, high pressure onto towers. It does open the door to camping solo, which we see from junglers pretty consistently. We'll see rotations over towards solo lane often because it's the lowest committal rotation. So much of the jungler's farm is on the right side of the map.
Yeah.
So you're just going to be there anyway. So being able to force a defensive ultimate out of the Chernobog, I think well within the wheelhouse of the Gilded Gladiators. Charon. So yeah, there's the support lock-in for the Gilded Gladiators. Gives us a little bit better idea of what they're going for. I much prefer to see Chernobog in just about any other lane. Any other role even, barring the jungle. But it can certainly work. It scales well into the late. You're just sacrificing a bit of initiation. And it certainly is an off-kilter composition from the Oni Warriors. This one is, once you're grouped up as 5 in the late game, going to play more standard than you'd expect. It still is just double ADC, assassin, warrior frontline with a Ganesh. But getting to that late game, I think it could have some speed bumps.
And I think if I'm going back, well, I guess I'll ask you the question. Do you want a reveal at least for the Gladiators to know where things are going? Because you were
just give me the jungle pick.
You were already well, you were on the money with it actually earlier, but Surtr is the jungle pick.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Which throws Camazotz into mid and Hades over there into solo, which is what you said you'd prefer anyway. So we're glad to latch onto that one for the Gladiators. Do you want to know about the Warriors and where they've shuffled things up?
Oh, you're telling me we didn't get it?
Well, I didn't get it. And I think, if I remember, the last one that you said had Erlang solo, which I'll tell you that was not right.
Erlang jungle set solo?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
There you go. Nailed it. Wow.
Bog mid, Soul ADC, Ganesh lane. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that is a much better. I think that is certainly much better. I was fully convinced that SOT was just give me Chernobog mode. So I think that plays much better throughout the early, alleviates some of my concerns for the Oni Warriors for the first 10 or so minutes.
Yeah.
Not that I had a whole lot of concern for the Oni Warriors whatsoever. They are the heavy favorite in this matchup. I think it'll be interesting to see Kyrmi on the Surtr, though. This is not something we've seen from Kyrmi just yet. When I think of Kyrmi as of recent, it's a lot more standard assassins. When I think of Kyrmi throughout history, I'm thinking of the facilitator style picks, things like Rat just to go in with the global, a little bit of CC, or maybe the Hun bots, or the WM1 characters like Erlang, Shen, Vamana back when he was first coming into the SPL. Surtr, I think, falls into the same category as the latter. Wants to get aggressive, wants to stay in that front line, first in, last out style of play, will generally hold on to that ultimate for safety. So you'll blink in, do all your damage. If things start to get dicey, you can ult out. But also has a little bit of CC. And I think that's something we haven't seen a whole lot of from maybe like the Erlang Shen style picks or the Osiris's of Kyrmi in the past, which is going to help out in particular Snoopy, which means playing to the mid 2v2 or mid 3v3 could be a good avenue for the Gilded Gladiators.
Does it harm them, though, knowing that they're going into, first off, like an Erlang who's going to have some CC, but also just like the Chernobog, who seems like he's got a lot of safety and disengage that he's going to be able to bring? I guess we can answer that by finding out in game itself. Game number 1 between the Warriors and the Gladiators, and it's J-Mac and Trelly to take us through.
Thank you so much. Gore and Mifflin on the desk. Game 1 between the Warriors and the Gladiators kicks off. That's right, it is J-Mac, Trelly, and Vile here to join us for game number 1 of the set. Gilded Gladiators haven't been able to find success in a set just yet. Set of games. Haven't been able to find some individual matchups. Look back to the Jade Dragons, able to find a couple of games there. Nearly went out that set at the tail end of it, but just falls short in game number 5. Now here up against one of the top teams in the league. And seeing Snoopy, I think, off of the Yu Huang probably was at least a step in the right direction for the squad, but Snoopy on the Camazotz. What are kind of your thoughts around this one, Trelly?
I mean, Camazotz mid, I think, is a great look, right? And so far, these assassins have been so prevalent, as well as just being able to be safe, and that's a big difference maker, right? Can you just survive the mid lane? Camazotz shouldn't be dying. He has so much access to safety. He has CC immunity very early on. He can self-banish. All of that is going to be a big deal. The question is, how proficient is Snoopy on the Camazotz, right? That's a big difference maker as well, because I say it so much I get tired of saying it. Camazotz is such a hit-or-miss character where you absolutely have to be landing Vampire Bats consistently. That's second ability. If you don't, you lose so much value of the kit. You miss your sustain tool, your only form of CC. So Snoopy's going to have to be on point. I'm sure he's got it in him. So we'll stay tuned. Keep a look on the mid lane every once in a while to see, if he's consistently landing that. But up against the Chernobog, I can't imagine there's too much scrapping, right? Pegon is going to look to fly towards other lanes when he wants to fight, but a mid 1v1 or 2v2 does not seem too likely.
We've been seeing a lot of these Chernobog mids, once that level 5 hits, rotate out instantly to some other lane, try and get some pressure for your squad. Talking about the double magic ADC, we've been seeing a lot of Freya Olorun, but Soul's kind of a new one, kind of rising back up now with the magic ADCs. Seen it passingly between a couple of other squads, but it hasn't been a consistent third option when the other two have been taken away, but been liking what we've seen so far out of these Souls. It feels like it's one that can match that pressure of Olorun.
And that's the idea. I mean, Olorun is just so good in the early. That level 2, you should be getting lane pressure pretty easily. Because of that, Soul is the answer to try and match that. Not really beat it, but stay even in lane. As you can see, Kyrmi recognizes, hey, my lane's got pressure. I'm gonna head over, grab this shield buff. It's free, and I'm gonna do that. Whereas Panitom only has one option: go over for cooldown buff on the right side of the map, because you just can't go in for that buff when your team is getting pushed so far back into tower. But I actually really do like the Soul. I think that once you're able to get some burst online, that's when she really starts to shine. The auto attacks are nice for getting you pressure, taking down bastions, get some boxing trades, but I think Soul's strength in her kit really does lie in that burst damage. 2-3 items in or so, that's when you really get to see that damage fly.
Saw it on the set. Not something we've seen over in Soul Lane in quite some time. Usually has been more towards mid or even occasionally the jungle. So having an assassin over on that right-hand side, maybe try and match potential damage output, though trying to beat a Hades in lane, never an easy task, especially not for one when you go Sigil in first slot, so you're lacking a bit of that poke. But what is a set solo going to offer to the Oni Warriors as opposed to throwing it somewhere like in the mid lane or even in the jungle?
It really does depend. I think that I'm a big fan of the set solo personally. I think it's very hard to gank. The safety that it brings is just unmatched. It's very difficult. It's like the Jingwei of solo lane. Essentially, as long as you're holding on to that sandstorm, as long as you always have a clone, you can sort of just get out of dodge. And apparently, you can defend your own blue buff with that skewer. Actually surprised that SOT was able to outconfirm Kana there, but looks like just went for a well-timed skewer. Ends up getting the blue. All the while, Panitom was stealing Kana's blue away. So despite having pressure early on because of the sigil, Sot's going to make out just fine with 2 blue buffs to his name. It's just, are you going to go a little bit tanky later on, or are you committing to the full damage? You're not going tanky if you're building set in mid lane. It's usually just, hey, I'm going to get Sigil of the old guard and then go full damage. Whereas in solo, I think you have the option to build a little bit hybrid if you would like. You still do incredible amounts of damage late game, regardless of the build, as long as you're able to stack up those set clones with Kingslayer.
The first few minutes of the game, no real pushes for a fight just yet. I haven't seen these junglers try and get involved in any of these lanes. We saw the junglers walk by each other at one point. Kyrmi put a little bit of poke towards Panitom, but that was about the end of that. Hit him with the first ability, tried to toss out the minion, but just clipped the wall, so it couldn't get anything from there. Outside of that, nobody really trying to go for any of these early game style scraps. Hasn't done anything significant yet, I should say, to the gold, but Gilded Gladiators do have about a 500 lead in that regard, up over the Oni Warriors. XP still sitting even at this point. Some of these neutral farms, neutral camps going over to the Gladiators, but maybe some of it also just coming down to its set solo, and SOT's been pushed under tier 1 tower pretty consistently.
Yeah, probably just losing some last hits. I think the Oni Warriors are confident in their late game. They've got this double ADC composition. They don't have an assassin in the mid lane, so they might be losing a bit of pressure there. But if I've learned anything from watching the Oni Warriors, and I've learned a bit, they are likely going to group up when it comes to those objectives, right? They will try to burn through Gold Furies early on, burn through Fire Giants early on, and a newly buffed item that we've seen sort of slotted into ADC builds, replacing the early Executioner or Kinzo we've seen from these Erlangs. Panitom goes for the Atalanta's bow first time. That's interesting.
Dharmic Pillar by Genetics forces ultimate out of Scream, and a tidal wave by Awesome Jake as well. Stuart's still sticking around. We could see a big fight brew because now Snoopy has joined the mix. Sanctified Field is going to be immune down as Panitom tries to turtle away, but the orbs are just a bit too much, and Snoopy's got the dot. It's the Gilded Gladiators on the board first, and now following up that kill with a purple buff invade, the Gilded Gladiators try to make their stamp known in the early.
Yep, beautiful rotation there. Stuart had to come through with the Sanctified Field, plenty of damage as well. All the while, Snoopy actually gets the last hit, gets to pick up First Blood. And that's just because they recognize, hey, Panitom, a little far up, did force some ultimates out, but does not have beads, right? No form of CC immunity here. We can get maximum value out of that ultimate, which they did. And because he was in slow-mo for so long, ends up falling down. Netrioid tried to make a rotation. I saw a bit of a late supernova there, but when you're starting Telekind's ring, that ult really doesn't hit like it will a little bit later on once you get some damage. So could not help. It was more of a 3v4 that time around, and Panitom falls for First Blood. Gotta watch those rotations out of duo, especially when you don't have that CC immunity around Stuart.
Man, that was a fight really without the supports ultimates there, because Genetics used his to get Kyrmi to the sky. Jake used his to try and bail Kyrmi out, but was already kind of petered out by that point. But then it was the call back in, the reinitiation from Stu and the rest of the Gilded Gladiators. Maybe catches the Oni Warriors off guard in that matchup. No reason from solo laners. In fact, neither of them go teleport in first slot. It's beads for both the Hades and the set. Maybe rightfully so, especially considering that just about every Hades that we see these days goes damage. Just about every set also goes damage, so want to have some extra safety in their kit. This Kyrmi continues to be a nuisance towards Genetics. The wave from Jake, just a little shy. Kyrmi not able to keep Genetics locked down for that CC.
Yep, smart call. I think dash at the perfect time there. If Genetics does get connected, probably gets aggressed upon there. But River 6 is off the mark. That means no fear. That means he can just dash out, no problem. I like this play from Kyrmi, though. I mean, he's been getting aggressive, has been essentially just walking around, and the first person he sees just starts to fight. And that's the benefit of picking something like Surtr. You have so much early aggression. You have a pretty easy escape anytime someone steps forward towards you. And I think Panitom's been doing the same, but he doesn't have that same level of disengage, right? He can't just ult and leave. Couple ultimates onto Stuart. I don't imagine he's in any real danger, though. Yeah, doesn't even have to relic. I guess just looking for pressure, or thinking that Pegon could fly in, pop the ultimate just to check. No real dive attempt, it will retreat, and actually Panitom's taking a lot as well.
Yeah, that satisfying sound from the first ability hitting. Yeah, that's Panitom's skull getting cracked open right there. A lot of damage from Kyrmi already. It's unfortunate we can't see how many stacks he's already built up. Pegon 1v1 gets one swoop and 2 away from Snoopy.
One Snoop.
One Snoop away. Pegon's fine, and the benefit of the Chernobog, that safety, being able to sit inside the wall to immune most of the damage from that ultimate.
When Snoopy's ulting, can we call him Swoopy?
Swoopy?
Yeah, he's swooping. That's what the ult
swooper.
is. Yeah, exactly. And Snoopy,
A swoopy swooper.
he gets a good trade there, of course, but trading your ultimate just for Pegon's dash, not always a good look. Luckily, Pegon had already ulted to try and fly over to left lane, so we'll be fine for now. And Camazotz should be getting the early clear advantage as far as I'm concerned, which Snoopy has. He's got a level lead, but not by much. I've actually seen Pegon take some pretty nice auto attack trades, finish stacking that Devos, and that can be real annoying to try and deal with as this game continues, because look at all the physical damage you're dealing with, right? Pegon's got the Xe. He's shredding for Panitom. He's shredding for Sot. Once they actually rotate, that damage will start to stack up. I think that's the reason that Panitom switched to the Atalanta's bow. He said, hey, Pegon's got the Xe. No need to stack them up, right? We'll just let one physical character get them, and then once we group up, we'll do plenty of extra damage. I talked about the objective, something that the Oni Warriors like to go to early, but I think the Gilded Gladiators have done a great job of just farming the map, showing some good presence towards Gold Fury early on. Pyro's not even available, so there's really nowhere else for them to look.
I haven't had an opportunity to really go towards one of these Gold Furies just yet. As you said, Gilded Gladiators really holding down the fort across the map. Getting that first blood really did help out Snoopy. River from Jake goes out, hits a couple. Kyrmi dives in with his own ultimate. Pegon dashes out now. Netrioid on the way. Genetics in the middle of 4, but is bailed out by his dual lane. Haven't seen the ultimate fly through from Stuart just yet. Means the Gladiators not committed to the fight and not needing as much of a bailout, but slightly healthier on the HP bars. Gank over to right lane. Pegon said, well, if we're not going to fight at mid, we might as well fight in solo. Combined with SOT, the Oni Warriors are now on the board.
And I was wondering when that play was going to happen, right? Not necessarily over towards Cxnnahh, but just Pegon using that ult to fly to a side lane and try and get aggressive. Anytime you dash over in solo, you're in danger of getting killed by Set alone. Now when you add Pegon into the mix, like I said, shredding the prots, doing extra damage, sitting in the Pillars of Agony because you already have the heal from Kingslayer. Sot plays that one very well, and good job by Pegon to recognize that there was a kill opportunity over on right. But it means the ultimate's down. There's really no more aggression to be had on the right side of the map. Like we said, tower goes down, yes, but not too many objectives you're looking to pull. And the Oni Warriors have sort of sown one of the strengths of this team comp, where Panitom goes for the taunt, and then immediately there's the Dharmic Pillars, but unfortunately Genetics gets left out to dry once Panitom bails on those attacks.
Yeah, Jax will take a nice chunk of damage from Kyrmi, but the fight fizzles out. The Oni Warriors can head back to base. A few of their players going back to reset themselves, pick up some items. Runeforge Hammer for Panitom now finished. Sovereignty for Genetics to deal with that at least main core of damage from Kyrmi and Snoopy for the time. Stu, still waiting for him to get online. Maybe before Genetics prioritizes a little bit more magic defense that direction, but facing against triple magical, I imagine it's got to come sooner rather than later. Because once Cxnnahh gets out of that lane, that's a full damage Hades at the time being. Cxnnahh and Stu are both going to be hitting pretty hard soon.
They will, and I think Genetics will probably prioritize something like a Shogun's next, right? That'll help out a ton. Pegon forced into the ultimate, probably just goes right back down onto Kyrmi. Now Kyrmi forced into the ultimate. Every time it seems like Kyrmi and Jake's ults are on the same cooldown, but they're peeling for each other. Smart call it. Sot.
Solos.
Just solos Cxnnahh?
Look how many spawns that he had up there. I think that was 6 of them just at the middle of the lane. and now fight around Beacon. The Oni Warriors have the man advantage here, 3 versus 2. Another ult combo from Panitom and Genetics to get Snoopy to bail away, but also Jake needs some extra help. Will manage to get under the tier 1 tower, and Beacon goes to the Oni Warriors.
Wow, I mean, I said if you ever dash as a Hades, you are subject to die, but I really thought that SoloOrTroll would get some anti-heal before going for a play like that. The benefit, of course, is if you fight Hades when there isn't a full wave, what does he heal off of, right? And if you look, the wave was already cleared. I think SoloOrTroll waited for that explosion and then just goes in for the all-in, and he's going to win that every single time. Didn't even have to relic.
Collapsing towards Snoopy. Fast Leap gets him out. Kyrmi, though, doesn't have his ult to go back to the sky, and with the rotation in from SOT, it'll be Panitom getting credit for the kill. But the full force of the Oni Warriors in mid, minus Netrioid, who's now getting collapsed on by Stuart and Jake. But Netrioid's not giving up. He might just go back in, or maybe towards an objective. The Oni Warriors now have advantage on field with Kyrmi down still in the grayscale.
Oh, he's going for another one. He's just waiting to see if Cxnnah's going to dash in. Kingslayer's up. I don't know if Cxnnah can even run. That's the thing. Where's he going to go? SoloOrTroll can just chase him wherever he decides to run to.
Sot goes over the wall. Cxnnah into ultimate, but SOT's got his own. He's healing so much, and another round of skewers. My God, the number of spawns that just got shot out. I think that was another 5 or 6 up there, and Panitom and Pegon to the mix over in mid. Get Snoopy to bail away. Kyrmi's level 11 right now compared to the 14 of Pegon. Kyrmi's doing a lot of damage. Throws out the damage from his own minion, and he's going to win that 2v2. Now Panitom goes down the 2v2. The Gladiators goes in their way with SOT rotating in. Kyrmi's got to get up to the sky. Just gets there in time. SOT might, for a moment, was thinking about going back in, but both abilities from Snoopy connect, and SOT will head on back to right lane.
Yeah, Pegon was not getting the crits he was looking for, and Kyrmi recognized, hey, we need to go for a play to try and slow down what the Oni Warriors have been getting so far. Ends up getting the kill, and Panitom tries to bail him out. He gets caught as well. There is a big issue on the map, though, J-Mac, and it's not Pegon and it's not Panitom. It is SoloOrTroll. I said he might build a little tanky. He's not interested in that at the moment. Just full damage set, 3-0, has a 2-level lead over Cxnnah. And now Cxnnah can't even walk up past the halfway point. There is no tower to hide under, and we've seen exactly what a set can do if a Hades walks too far up. And actually Cxnnah does make one change up, which I like to see, into the breastplate. You know, the full damage Hades was not working out, as you can tell. You just get dominated in this lane if you're 3 kills behind and SOT finds you anywhere near your blue buff, you're going to die.
I would say halfway point wasn't even safe for Cxnnah. I mean, he was walking through what existed of his tier 1 tower. SOT walks up before the waves even connect and really force a battle out of Cxnnah at that point. And as seen, I should say, Cxnnah goes over the wall. SOT says, okay, I'll just follow you, and just keeps the boxing match going through. Now anti-heal, though, for SOT, so can fight into ultimate a little bit more. Even with that defense starting up for Cxnnah. Might not be enough with all the pen that SOT's already building for himself. Oni Warriors, with their 4 kills, have only netted themselves about 1,000 gold lead over the Gilded Gladiators, though that is about 1,000 swing from the opposite direction. And Pegon jumps over with SOT. I guess this game is the bully Cxnnah show because the Gilded Gladiators, their soul laner, just cannot catch a break.
I mean, yeah, that's the thing. It's up to Kyrmi to try and save him, right? And Kyrmi's over on left. Now Netrioid in some trouble. I lied. Just delete Stuart from the face of existence. Does end up falling down. Stu used both relics. He tried. I was going to say, like, did Stu have Aegis? Oh, yeah, he did. It got burned.
Both relics, ultimate, all of that. Still not enough. Netrioid, plenty of damage, coupled with his support to get that kill. Panitom and Pegon will split push the right side of the map while SOT decides to make his presence known in mid. Tier 2 tower does go down. Kyrmi used his beads against Panitom. There's an ultimate, a 9 turns blessing used to keep up that pressure for tower. SOT still trying to bully out. Went for a red buff invade, but comes up empty-handed this time.
Pyromancer is up, though. Sot's going to start the pull. No one's that close. Looks like Pegon will help him out in a minute. Snoopy caught word of this, but I don't think he really wants to step up to go for the steal. Probably just goes for his own wave and heads over to left lane. And it's not like the Gilded Gladiators. They know this is happening. They can't just run over to left and pull a Gold Fury, though, because Stuart has 3 items. It needs extra farm and has no relics for another minute 30. It's going to be very difficult for Stu to try and step up to a Gold Fury. Because he knows Panitom's going to blink to the back line, Pegon's going to fly in, Sot could make that rotation as well. Not an easy time. Kyrmi has decided to spend the majority of his time over on left lane, leaving Cxnnahh sort of by himself, which has not been working, because now Sot's level 18, can do no wrong, essentially, and grouped up towards the beacon is the call. Actually, it is the Gladiators going for the pull. They're attempting this.
Half HP on the Fury. Stu's burning through. Ultimate is just good enough from Awesome Jake. Secures the Gold Fury and keeps the Oni Warriors from walking into the pit. Last hit does go to Stuart, but zoning at least by Jake, even with genetics throwing Dharmic Pillars out. Not enough to steal that one away. And the second beacon spawn will go to the Oni Warriors as well. Gilded Gladiators still not wanting to step up. And with that Gold Fury, keeps the game still within about 2,000 for the Oni Warriors. And this is as far as Cxnnah's allowed to go now. He's lost both of his towers to rotations from Pegon with SOT. So he has to sit back and farm at what existed of his tier 2 tower, because he's not safe anywhere on the map, clearly.
He is definitely not. Netrioid is trying to take away one of Stuart's bastions of safety, the tower. That's going to drop down. With Gold Fury gone, I don't see a reason to stay on this side of the map any longer. Now, if it was any other team in the league, J-Mac, I would say, okay, the Oni Warriors probably just going to sit back and farm. But considering they have the lead they do, which is not that massive, but it's big enough, I wouldn't be surprised if Netrioid rotates out and it's time for Fire Giant. Like, that is the game pace that the Oni Warriors have set time and time again, forcing the Gilded Gladiators to make a choice. Hey, are you going to fight us in the jungle when you know you don't want to? Are you going to go in for the low-stakes steal on Fire Giant? Or are you just going to give it up and give us even more pressure across the map? Not an easy choice to make when you don't quite have all of your item spikes. You can tell. Everyone's trying to get a little bit tankier. Cxnnahh did finish the breastplate. Stuart working on a breastplate as well. And here comes Sot. Wouldn't be surprised if Pegon joins him soon.
Cxnnahh, all he can do is ult. SOT will just keep dropping spawns nearby and nearly takes down Cxnnahh, but the defense is just enough. Pegon swoops in, but he's not able to land the killing blow. And now Kyrmi coming back in with the Meteor will only catch Genetics this time. Pegon joined by Panitom and Genetics. And with Netrioid standing by, the Gladiators won't continue their push in, but SOT finally punished for his over-aggression.
Yeah, I mean, I was waiting for the Gilded Gladiators to finally help Cxnnahh, right? There's no reason that a set dashing at your Phoenix line shouldn't warrant a rotation, but Pegon held that ult for a while. He had it up. He could have ulted over. I'm guessing Sot said, nah, I don't need it, I don't need it. And then once Sot got a 3-man rotation, he said, wait, no, I need your help, finish this kill. And by that point, Cxnnahh was gone, able to blink away. There was no damage that kept him in combat, so curious play there. I really do believe that Sot said, I don't need the ult, don't come over here. Either way, ends up wasting a bit and giving that shutdown kill. And that's going to be big. The Gilded Gladiators needed Sot to stop free farming to try and mount a little bit of a comeback. I think the real difference maker, though, is if Stuart is going to be able to get some free farm over in left lane. If he's just left alone, grab a tower, get a extra power spike or two, really big here for the Gilded Gladiators. They already have a decent front line. Awesome Jake's had a level lead over Genetics pretty much this whole game. Cxnnahh finally gets some free farm over and right. He's been able to catch up to a level deficit over SOT. But I think the big difference maker is Stu, who has 3 damage items currently. Hasn't finished his gooseberries. Went into the breastplate. He is lacking in damage at the moment.
I mean, we're 21 minutes in, and he's sitting 1 stack away from finishing his gooseberries at this point. Gilded Gladiators, though, do pull the Pyromancer. It is melting quickly, and no one from the Warriors there in time to take that one out. Gladiators answer back with some objective play against the aggression of the Oni Warriors. But we do actually see, if you pan back over to SOT's build, Gauntlet of Thieves. He brought it into the meta for the solo laners, and even though he's gone triple damage item, maybe feels a little bit of defense, couldn't hurt to have for himself, so picks that one up. 4th item. Will take him a bit to stack that one up. Usually you want to maybe get that a bit earlier, but maybe didn't feel that he needed it until that triple rotation came his way.
Yeah, I think he was building towards it a bit earlier, but just, you know, it's never that priority. You're going to get stacked up naturally if you stick around, but the Oni Fury spawned in, the Gilded Gladiators are already here. It looks like the Oni Warriors want to go in for a cheeky fire pull, but there's already ward coverage here. The Gilded Gladiators know exactly what's happening.
Cxnnahh shows up. He's got Snoopy nearby. Genetics from the Warriors will join to make this a 3v2. The Fire Giant pull, the Tidal Wave is in, and the Gilded Gladiators have stolen the Fire Giant away. Kana will go down to Netrioid, and Kyrmi trying to make his presence known as Panitom gets hit by the damage. Sanctified Field now in the middle of 3 people from the Warriors, but a couple of them able to break their way out as SOT keeps his dive going. He's diving right on top of Kyrmi, slows down him and Jake. Genetics finds the knockup, and Pegon's got the in-hand damage. The fire may have been stolen by the Gladiators, but every one of them are about to lose it. 3 down. Snoopy, a quarter HP, and Kyrmi still healthy, but with a very strong Oni Warriors team marching it down. Kyrmi's life bar may not live for much longer. The Oni Warriors do give up chase to both Snoopy and Kyrmi, and instead fall back to the tier 2 and then straight to the Phoenix. Snoopy, Kyrmi, they can't stop this from going down.
Yeah, that was just the double W key. I mean, that's really what it was. There's not too much anti-heal built for the Gilded Gladiators, so Sott's health bar did not drop very much. It was just, hey, Kingslayer, roll forward. All the while, Netrioid got some great damage off on this soul, and the chase down potential of the consistent slows from the skewer, and that no one from the Gilded Gladiators is going to be able to make it out. Luckily, Snoopy and Kyrmi were fast enough and had enough movement to get away from the Gilded or the Oni Warriors, but you only got Fire Giant on 2, and the Oni Warriors were able to grab a mid-Phoenix off that push. I don't think they're going to sit back and let the Gilded Gladiators regroup. If anything, Sott's trying to chase down Kyrmi again.
Slows him down. Pegon roots him. Kyrmi just gets to the sky, even with the Styx River from Awesome Jake. That's just enough to keep the Oni Warriors from going on their continued chase. I say that as SOT is still walking through the jungle with a small little Surtr minion chasing him out. So the Gladiators knew that SOT had not given up. He'll team up with Pegon once more in the dual lane, waiting for these Oni minions to push up. Stu's got decent clear. The Oni Warriors will recognize that. There's just maybe one too many Gladiators for them to keep up the push.
Yeah, the Oni Warriors have shown there's 3 members of their team all on Beacon right now, so why wouldn't the Gilded Gladiators feel like they could go in for a kill, right? That they can at least defend. They're not going to let Pegon and Sott just walk up for a tier 2 this early in the game. I say early, but 24 minutes is still relatively early to just walk in and take a tier 2 with no Fire Giant buff. Remember, the Gilded Gladiators are the ones who have that buff on Snoopy and Kyrmi, who are both around. It looks like Oni Warriors are sieging forward, though.
Will be a Sanctified Field from Stu. Gets the Oni Warriors away for the time, but now that it's faded, all it cost was a Dharmic Pillar from Genetics, and hope for Pegon to go towards Kyrmi. And the silence is keeping him from going up into the sky. He didn't have his beads for another 10 seconds when that fight breaks out. And Kyrmi down for 48 seconds. The Oni Warriors will continue to hold that W key, tier 2 tower, and maybe a bit more, because it's still a healthy squad for the Warriors to push forward.
They've got a Phoenix, and Sott still has a Runic Bomb. Looks like he's going to try and go in over on left. Titans have been unleashed, though, so there can't be an end call just yet. At the very least, trying to dive over on left is the call for the Oni Warriors.
Deal with the Titan, deal with the Phoenix. You got 24 seconds still, Kyrmi. Kana goes in with the beats and ultimate to lock in 3. Genetics nearly gone and taken down. It's Snoopy, but SOT to the backline will not let this one go for free. He and Pegon holding the fort, and Panitom off to the right side waiting for his flank opportunity. Pegon has not gone back yet, and Netrioid and Sott have to deal with the Titan, which has been sent back. But the left Phoenix holds firm, and the Gilded Gladiators are given a second chance.
Yeah, Sott recognized immediately, hey, I really want to dive. I want to use this Kingslayer. I want to go, as hard as possible. But you don't tank the Phoenix up that well with this build. The second that Phoenix started climbing, he said, hey, I need to get out of here. Kana sacrificed the life, blinked in, immediately had to beads the silence, but said, hey, I will be ulting. We'll be getting someone. Genetics gets his first death of the set so far. That's going to mean that Phoenix does not drop down, and the Gilded Gladiators Titan will be dealt with over on left. Should be a reset here, J-Mac. Fire Giant will be up in a couple seconds, and that means the Gilded Gladiators need to reset and deal with some fire minions. 2 more waves to be exact in mid lane, and then they'll be able to defend relatively easily. There's still some power spikes that need to be had. Snoopy is working on some extra damage. 3-0-2 so far for the Camazotz. Has been staying relatively safe. Haven't seen too many opportunities to go in for any 1v1s where Camazotz really shines at this point, because the Oni Warriors are not playing split like they sometimes do. It's been full grouping, just ready for Genetics to try and find something here on Awesome Jake.
Well, let's see and listen in with the Gilded Gladiators. They try and take this fight back.
kill, right? He's rooted. Kill the tanks, kill the tanks.
I'm up in the air.
I'm looking at Ganesha.
Yeah, keep going forward. Soul.
Yeah, okay, finish Ganache.
I got stunning. Solo.
Remember the end here. How many tower?
Yeah.
I think we have wave.
I'm down.
Or is it wave or is minions?
Yes, we have a wave.
We four flag. Okay, guys. Okay.
They don't end. They don't have a wave. Keep going.
Thought for a moment we'd be seeing a base race here, but in one fell swoop, the Gilded Gladiators have knocked away 3 of the Warriors, and fully healthy, it's going to be a 2 versus 5. Can SOT and Pegon make the difference? SOT does have the Kingslayer. He's slamming a lot of damage to the backline, and it's just enough to hold the Titan alive. SOT and Pegon might just have what it takes to keep this one back. Pegon, he's got 2. Sot's got 1. Make it 2 for him as well. And the 2 versus 5. The Warriors are just too strong. Full house for the combo and a deicide for the Warriors.
Sot just pops his ultimate. Pegon immediately starts peppering out damage, and they 2v5 in the Titan room. That is ridiculous. I thought them going for that Phoenix might have been too much. They were able to get the Phoenix, go back, defend their Titan, and now the Oni Warriors are in a position to push forward and possibly end. I think they've got enough time. They're going to go through left. Let's see if they can do it.
Panitom marching up mid, clearing out the wave, as the other 2 might just work towards this left side Phoenix.
They don't have the time.
Do have the minion wave, and still 17 seconds until anybody comes back. Kana actually 10 seconds in. Pegon and Sot, they just defended their base, and now they're going for an end game of their own. They've got a minion wave with them. It resets, but now realizing that the frontliners are back for the Gladiators, wisely, they won't go for the end call this time.
No, had to get the free Fire Giant first. The Oni Warriors made the objective safe play. Hey, let's get the free Phoenix, let's get the free Fire Giant, and not overextend. Plenty of damage that was about to spawn in there. As you can see, all of the Gilded Gladiators are sieging forward. They want to try their hand at a Primal Fury, maybe before the Oni Warriors can group up. But Pegon and Sot do not care. They are here versus 5. They already won this fight once. They will take the Primal Fury, and they will be able to run away. Sot's got plenty of movement here.
Sot's out. Pegon there just in case. We just saw them 2v5 with the help of their Titan. No Titan to give them the extra boost of damage this time, but still enough presence to keep the Gladiators back. And man, the Gladiators, they did so good in that team fight before. That's the communications that we've been waiting for to see from this team. We'll see if they can do it again here. Cxnnahh is being pressured out by the wave. Will only connect to him and Netrioid, but Cxnnahh is right back on the scene. He's got Pegon with him, but Pegon's got nothing left in the tank. He's down. And Stu gets the shell to keep him alive, but SOT, he started up his first one. That's already taken down 2, and he's just gonna keep swiping away. Kana low, and Kana down. It's 3 for SOT, give him 4. It's a ham bone for SOT, and only Snoopy left alive. SOT is gonna notch his 5th one on the board. Pentakill for SOT, and the Oni Warriors can march up and take game 1.
2v5 at the Titan. Sot wins those. 1v5 might as well. Gets the pentakill, and the fire minions are already there. Netrioid's gonna take this one down. Props to the Gilded Gladiators. They found a moment to try and come in and fight. Unfortunately, there was only one man you had to kill, and you just couldn't do it. Sot takes them all down.
And the Titan melting away at the end. It's the Oni Warriors on top game 1. Looked dicey there for a moment, but never doubt what the power of SOT, Pegon, and a Titan can do to a whole team.
Man, it's been a while since we've seen a pop-off like that. Like the Kali, for example. You just get those resets and you keep them going. Set, very similar. You got to stop those heals. You got to stop that Kingslayer. And in this case, there was no stopping him. He was just able to W key through just about everyone. And I think the Gilded Gladiators had some great target selection. Like, hey, Pegon just rolled through us at the Titan with help from Sot. Let's focus that guy. They killed him immediately. Turns out he wasn't the main issue. There was a bigger threat looming in the background, and it was the set.
Yeah, there were 3 pieces to the puzzle on the Titan siege. It was Pegon. All right, you took care of that.
Yep.
There's the Titan. Okay, well, Titan's not going to fight in the jungle. Oh, no, there's still SOT, and he just tears through the entire enemy team in that fight. And good on the rest of his team for letting him just go for the solo chase down to Snoopy there. Guarantees himself a pentakill. And this is only game number 1 of the set, Charlie. We'll take ourselves a quick break and get set up for game 2.
She got cheats, she got smiles, she got business on the side. She got treats for them guys when a baby out of town. Got cheats, got sides, funny business on her mind. She's so pleased with her life, mind her business out my mind. Have a treetop, swinging my V-side, put up a cool. With the party, sipping her coffee, epic up. With a clear eye, she a too weird, I like a tattoo. Then it funny, but I wonder, hey, how many times can you stay in the winter and choose? How many times, baby? How low can you go to get back in your one baby boo? How low can you go, baby? I wanted some land, I wanted some nigga move. But you on the train and I want this going to chew. She got cheats, she got smiles, she got business on the side. She got cheats for them guys when a baby out of town. Got cheats, got sides, funny business on her mind. She's so pleased with her life, mind her business out my mind. It's a tea time, leaning like in pizza. Put them knees down, squeeze it like a breeze on. Got the teeth done, had to fill the crease up. Saw the sneakers by the door and realized it was time to go. Weighted blankets couldn't come for me. I'll need more to ever catch a sea. I can wonder what I didn't see. She a damn good thief. She got cheats, she got smiles, she got business on the side. She got treats for them guys when a baby out of town. Got cheats, got sides, funny business on her mind. She's so pleased with her life, mind her business on my mind. I get a chance to make amends. After the dance, I switch my lens to try and glance how it makes sense. I play pretend, this is the end. I get a chance to make amends. After the dance, I switch my lens to try and make amends. She got cheats, she got smiles, she got business on the side. She got treats for them guys when a baby out of town. Got cheats, got sides, funny business on her mind. She's so pleased with her life, money business on my mind.
Well, it is a roller coaster of a game. It's got everything you could want. You've got base defenses, you've got fire giant steals, you've got pentakills, and of course all of that while the players are looking fresh in their jerseys. Now, I will tell you at home, this is not a guaranteed one-to-one correlation, Mifflin, but all the players wear jerseys, and they play that well. Therefore, if you wore one of their jerseys, you might also play that well. And the only way to truly find out, we have to test our hypothesis here, is for you to go to shop.hi-rezstudios.com/SBL, pick up a jersey from our good friends over at Skulls. And on top of that, or a hoodie, or a t-shirt. There's a lot of really, really good and very, very comfortable merchandise that's over there from our friends at Skulls. I'm a huge fan. I legitimately mean it. My Skulls t-shirts are ones that I like to wear regularly. They are very cozy. I love the material they're made out of. The jerseys all feel comfortable. The hoodies are all super comfortable and warm. And so you get to rep your favorite team, potentially, maybe with an asterisk, play like a pro. The only way to find out is to look like a pro and see if you can do it at home. But it's Gort's Myth, and it's a hell of a game one, man, to start this set off. Again, it had virtually everything you could look for, top to bottom in a set.
Yeah, the Oni Warriors really put on the pressure early and never let go of the pressure. Fire Giant gets stolen, you're thinking, all right, surely that's at least enough to slow down the Warriors. No, simply not the case. They just pushed through it until eventually, with their over-aggression, the Gilded Gladiators were given over a few phenomenal opportunities which were then immediately crushed on what I would describe, and I think most analysts would describe, as a panic end attempt from the Gilded Gladiators in a 5v2 with 3 towers still left. That is an incredibly tanky Titan they were trying to deal with. The Oni Warriors, of course, crush them from there. And, you know, I hopped into the Oni Warriors booth after that game. As I often do, I like to hear what the pros are talking about. Helps me out with my job, gives me a little bit of anecdotal stories to share with the chat here. And normally when I go into a booth, they're talking about, oh, we could have done X, Y, or Z better, or next game let's fish for this pick, or this guy's playing too well on this thing. All I heard from the Oni Warriors was incredibly loud screaming from Pegon that Sot stole his penta on the 2v5 base defense. Sot says, I got 3. Pegon says, I got the first 2, though, so it's my penta. You could never get it. That happened for about 30 seconds until eventually we hit the... Well, I actually did get a penta a little bit later on, and he's just right. So I think with the Oni Warriors spirits as high as that, it'd be difficult now for the Gilded Gladiators to win the mental battle, at least.
If that's what your team is focused on, you've got very little other concerns.
Yes.
It wasn't, oh man, they almost killed the Titan, or we were worried about the defense. It is strictly...
Yeah. Should we have played the base race different? No. You took my kills, bro. Like, what's going on?
Yeah. And honestly, look, I just want to say it. And maybe, I don't know. I'm not going to get between the two of them. Maybe it could have been, you know, Sot got one a little later. Maybe.
Oh, well, no. Which team are you on, Gordon? Well, Pegon got the first 2, so it has to be his penta. That's his penta angle.
But also, who's more likely to get like a penta in those scenarios, a Chernobog or a Set?
Well, Chernobog in that one because he got the first 2.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay. Chat, you can vote.
But Sot got 3.
Who should have got Sot or Pegon? Create division.
Some nuance there.
You know, a lot of derisiveness. You know what? Go to their POV and tell them whether or not you think they deserved it. On Twitch, you can find where they're streaming. We're going to jump into, instead, picks and bans here for game number 2. Warriors will remain first pick. We'll see if they change anything ban-wise. So far, Freya, Pele, nothing too out of the ordinary.
Oh, I did want to say, by the way, Snoopy has himself a very good game here. Snoopy has some of the most vocal detractors, so when he does well, I do want to highlight it. Up against Pegon, he essentially had the mid lane handled for the first 10 or so minutes. Starts off 1-0, has about a level and a half lead for the entirety of the matchup, until eventually it started to turn into a team fight game that started to peter away. But I think showing some flexibility through mid, good growth for the Gilded Gladiators, especially on something that he hasn't been playing too frequently. That Camazotz is a Snoopy first time in game 1. Looks pretty good. And Kyrmi also had really good jungle presence on that Surtr, was very involved on the map, I believe. Starts the game at 3-0-5 with 8 affected kills. Pretty good there, too. It's just about transitioning that, and you can run this back on any Gilded Gladiators death segment we've ever done with any analyst in this seat. It's just about transitioning those kills into something tangible that the Gilded Gladiators have struggled with in the past. I'm going to go out on a limb here, Gore, and I'm going to speak in absolutes like a Sith Lord.
Yeah.
If Chernobog gets through and is first picked, I feel like you have done yourself a disservice, and I'm using the royal you. I'm not talking about the Gilded Gladiators. I am now because they've done it, but anybody who's given up Chernobog, man, it just doesn't feel good. Chernobog's win rate is insane. His early game is great. His late game is phenomenal. He's got global presence. He scales well. He can go for the yellow numbers build or like a pseudo crit build if he so chooses. He's got high pressure output. He's one of the safer hunters in the game. I'd put him in the safest hunters conversation right alongside Hachiman and Jingwei and all them. There's nothing that god don't do, except for get banned, apparently.
I'm surprised. I thought we were just going to start seeing him run it back, right? We got Cherno, we got Sol. We got Cerberus, which was banned out last time around. So instead, a little bit of a shift up. Ama and Olorun locked in for the Gladiators. Very notable, they banned the Hades alongside the Athena and the Emoja on the Gladiators. And that was something that we didn't get to touch on because there's so much else kind of going on that game. But Kana did not have a great time. And I feel like this is one of, you know what? Kana, like, I would almost say maybe a 4th ban, right, when you are getting picked up and grabbing a Hades to stop Sot from getting a Hades, right, to stop that matchup from maybe existing. And even here, knowing, okay, let's go for Ama, ban the Hades. And so changes some things. But they go back to the Surtr, they go back to the Olorun, But Mifflin, based on your, do we want to call it a rant? We'll call it a rant of Chernobog and the Soul that looked real good, and a Cerberus that theoretically would look real good. Starting to think the top 3 battle was maybe won here by the Warriors.
Look, Chernobog does a lot of the heavy lifting.
Yeah, it's mainly
in that
him.
conversation. He does a lot of the heavy lifting. Soul's fine. If we're going to compare apples to apples, Soul to Olorun, I don't think Soul's necessarily winning out on that matchup consistently as far as priority order. Cerberus to Surtr, I mean, they're the same. They're just picks that people can go towards. It's not exactly highly contested, unless Surtr is just the new flavor of the town. We've seen it from a few junglers here and there, but hasn't exactly been a consistent amongst the entire league. Amaterasu to Chernobog is a chasm so large that I couldn't measure it with conventional measurement. I would have to create some sort of new thing that isn't miles, yards, or meters. I'd call them Googles or something. That's how large of a separation there is between those 2 picks. So I would agree that the Oni Warriors do come out ahead on value here in the top 3, but compositions are not built by individual picks. They are built by the sum of their parts. And as of now, I feel like the Gilded Gladiators have a draft that could really come together with a little bit more consistent damage, something that could follow up off the initiation from either Amaterasu or Surtr. The Oni Warriors, I mean, their draft isn't exactly lacking for anything. They've shown a lot of their pieces, but maybe something that can create some frontline separation, something that can start up your fight and create some space for Soul and Chernobog would really round out their draft well.
Now, I'm going to pick on the weirdest thing in there. How are you spelling like your new measurement of Google's like the web browser, or?
Yeah, it's just come to my attention in attempting to make something up that's actually a real number. I'm pretty
Google.
sure.
Yeah, Googleplex is like.
Yeah, so I'll spell it like GEW Ghoul, like the zombie.
Yeah, Ghoul and Ghoul and Google.
Yeah.
I love that. Cool. You know what? I'm all here for this new measurement. You know what? We're in the U.S. We're gonna use anything.
Yeah,
except
we make
meters.
we make things up.
That's
our
like
thing.
12 football fields long. That one's 10 hamburgers high. It's just our thing, bro. Bans that roll through in the second phase: Thor, Erlang, Shen. Banned out by the Gladiators. Warriors get rid of the Camazotz and the Baba Yaga. And we get a Fafnir pickup, something we haven't gotten to see in a while. But it honestly, Mifflin, I've been kind of curious about this because we've had so many auto attackers. Where has Fafnir been when you have this many auto attackers just available in the meta?
It just feels like Fafnir has been outshined. And I think the ban column for the Oni Warriors shows you exactly why Fafnir hasn't really been showing up as often. Ares is kind of doing his thing, but he's doing more damage, has more consistent CC, and is burning beads more often, right? So Fafnir can work and will obviously have a better auto attack stim than Ares does now with a bolstered defense. So the opportunity now for the Gilded Gladiators with pressure to just go ahead and run down a Gold Fury or Pyromancer is certainly there, or even knocking down structures. I'd classify this as a triple auto attacker draft already, Surtr within that conversation. But it's not exactly the AoE CC or AoE initiation. This is very much so now a pick-based composition, I think, between Surtr and Fafnir, both having such high single-target CC. You could lock down one guy, and you can lock him down for a long time, and you've got really good chase between the two of them. Fafnir, some of the longest leaps in the game, Surtr with his semi-global. But I want to see just one more thing for the Gilded Gladiators to simplify their 5-on-5. And I'm torn right now between high CC output or massive burst damage. I think either of those two would suit the Gladiators well. And if they can find the god in the 120 that brings both, it would really tie together their draft.
Really interested because it should be Snoopy's pick, in theory, that's getting locked in.
Oh, he's
here,
going to go Yu Huang.
Does Yu Huang do those things you asked? He's got some CC.
He's got a little bit of CC. It would actually help out the initiation. I think inconsistency of damage, not exactly there. All right, I like Morgan Le Fay blanket statements just more. Like, let's keep it real, yeah. But I was trying to do the Snoopy slanted analysis. Yeah, I think Morgan Le Fay fits this pretty well. Self-sufficient in the backline with Dragonflight, has really good self-peel. The ultimate, of course, having CC immunity will help you out against things like Cerberus ultimate or second Cerberus ultimate from the Morrigan or Susano's displacement. So there's some options there for Snoopy to try and survive. But doesn't exactly play into maybe the strengths of Surtr entirely. Feels like Surtr is going to spend a lot of that early game where he feels really strong, that early to mid game where he's really strong, rotating through lanes and saying, oh, well, my duo lane's not strong yet because it's Olorun and he's only on like 2 rings, or my mid laner is not strong yet because he's building a little bit of defense right here, so it doesn't exactly have the damage. So we almost killed that guy, but they got away. Or rotates through solo and says, yeah, I mean, that felt okay. Amaterasu was bullying, but we can never kill an enemy soul laner because that's just how soul lane works. I feel like Kyrmi is going to have a very hard time playing around his power points, and it's more so going to have this Surtr act as a bridge selection. I'm strong now, so my teammates can be strong later. Might be the idea of the Gilded Gladiators jungler.
So, this question, I don't know how I feel about it, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Competitive pentakills are few and far in between.
Yeah, how many do we have? Like full stop? Do we
like
have
full,
that?
like I don't
It's
know
gotta be in
how
like the
many
low
we have,
50s.
but I think
Below
including
50.
like if we include like SCC and SCL and like the console league and stuff, you're probably in the 30s to 40s.
Oh, okay.
But like if you're just SPL, I'd be surprised if we're in the 20s. Like I mean that might overcap it.
10
That might
years.
be over it. Yeah. Well, I mean for the longest time it was Game Hunter. And that was the pentakill that happened in the SPL.
Missed that guy.
And that was in launch tournament. And so until then, or after that, I mean, it was years. Cyclone Spin's got a few. But I was going to ask, over-under. Well, not over-under.
On another penta?
Not on another
You
penta.
wouldn't.
If someone, if there was a god in this game that was going to get one, who do you think it would be?
Any of the Oni Warriors except for Cerberus. Any of them could do it, really. I mean...
And then who
damage
would
dealers.
deserve it? Would it be Pegon or something?
Well, it depends on who gets the first kill, Gore. You got to figure that one out
Well,
first.
okay, but is it just the first kill or first 2 kills? Like,
well, the first kill...
I guess that matters the most,
That
right?
matters the most. It's
Yeah.
like game 1 in a best of 5. It matters the most.
Oh, okay.
Like, everybody agrees.
And the pentakill of games, game 1 is the most important.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Can't get
I
5
think
if
I'm
you
losing
don't get
a little
1,
bit of
right?
the thread here, but I think I'm picking up what you're putting down. The good news is that you don't have to listen to us figure it out. We'll just find out if another one can happen here. So we jump down to game 2 with the casters.
We'll see if we get another one here in game number 2. Let's jump right in with the Oni Warriors and the Gilded Gladiators. Thank you so much, Gore and Myth on the desk. It's J-Mac, Charlie, and Vile back once more to bring you game 2 between our two teams. Now, last time, I'll maybe wait to see when the poll pops up. It was sitting about 80-20 last time. Still more in favor of the Oni Warriors, 85-15 this time. But I'm honestly maybe a little surprised, Charlie. SOT just had a pop-off game on set. 2v5 defense with Pegon. Nearly gets a triple kill. Says he gets his penta stolen. Whatever antics between him and Pegon you want to go with. But then does get a penta. And then the god goes unpicked, unbanned going into game 2. Is this just SOT saying, cool, I got on that one, move on to the next? I mean, why no set this game?
Well, I'm guessing Zot was just bored on set. That would be my first guess. But I need your help with something, because this is boggling my mind.
I'll try and help you out.
So I saw on Twitter after Zot got the penta, I believe it was FineOK who said, man, that 12-hour warm-up really paid off. So,
Yeah.
I was like, what do you mean by that, right?
Yeah, Sop probably streamed for 12 hours right before this.
Right. So I go to his VODs. I had to check. And it says 10 hours ago, like when the stream was, but it's an 8-hour VOD. So he got off like 3 hours ago?
Yeah, like 2-3 hours ago, which makes sense because the players need to be here by like 10:45. It's, what time is it now? Like 12:30? Something like that? Yeah, 12:30. Genetics almost dead.
I was holding my breath as Genetics got soloed first
Yeah.
and foremost.
Yeah, so, okay, Genetics is alive for now. Hammer by Jake. No follow-up from Stu. Needs to be a body block by Net. Stu could still push forward. Orb's not enough. He only had 2 charged up that time, so both Genetics and Net live. But, yes, to answer that one, about an 8-hour stream that ended probably an hour before he needed to be here. Just gonna keep going. Every time we go back to the conversation, someone on the Warriors is almost dead.
So my guess is he's still playing ranked, you know? In his brain, he's like, yeah, what do you mean? It's just a 13-hour stream now. I'm just going to keep going. And it ended up working out for him. Hey, game number 2. Not going to dwell on it for too long. Just the mental stamina of SOT. Because going in for the Morrigan solo here. But great duo pressure from the Gilded Gladiators so far. Genetics almost dropped down for first blood. Stu needed a little bit more. But once again, Kyrmi makes an early rotation. This Surtr has been getting real active on the left side of the map, especially last game, this game as well. Just trying to get some pressure, right? Trying to pull that shield buff pretty consistently. And I think because Genetics on the Cerberus is going to have to play very carefully. Usually go 1-2. You know, if you want 2-3, you can. That extra escape helps, but sometimes you want to go for that kill pressure. You want that extra damage, that extra clear. And I'm thinking that this Surtr was a big talking point for the game number 1. I think that Kyrmi was, you know, the one that brought the early pressure. Oh no, I was going to say Kana's dash getting blocked is going to hurt, but luckily Kana gets to survive. I'm thinking Kyrmi needs to spend more time on right. That's just me personally. You know, getting Kana into a place where he can actually exist on the map and not just get killed every time he tries to leave tower, it seems like a better look than going for the attempted ganks over on left.
The left, who is nearly dead for the Oni Warriors, is now pushing the Gladiators all the way back to their Tier 1 tower. Stuart had 2 near-miss opportunities to try and go for a kill, but was just shy on both of them, even with the help of awesome Jake. And this Cerberus pick by Gen X. Now, I want to dial in on this pick specifically, because we see this primarily in solo lane, but there was a point in time, as Gen X continues to be a nuisance, trying to steal a buff away, where Gen X gets into a game. This was Season 8, when he's still playing on ping at home before he was able to get here and steal it. The rest, by the way, he steals that. He had 7 gods picked or banned away from him for support. And he locks in Cerberus, and then he just decimates whoever he plays. And I asked him in the interview, I said, what's it like eating so many bans? And he said, it's tilting. That I'm playing away from everyone else. I'm playing on ping. They're banning all of my gods, and then they're still losing. It's tilting to see that. And this was the pick that kind of started that. That was kind of a long tangent just to go that. The first time he pulls this out was like 7, 8 gods deep in the ban pool at that point, and he still made it look good and showed that this god has capabilities outside of this role.
Yep, I mean, I do like, especially in a magical lane like this, with the fly in, it looks like first down is going to be Stu. How many times have we seen this, man, where Pegon gets Chernobog, flies in at level 5, and just pulls an easy kill? And he says, thanks, guys. Thanks for first blood. I'm out of here. I'm going back to mid lane. He's not even going to miss the wave. If he didn't stay for these mid camps, he might have missed 1 minion. That's the benefit of this pick. And that's why it's getting banned away or first pick so often. The point is, I think that the Cerberus, with the Ghastly Breath, shredding for a magical ADC, just works out super well. I'm a big fan of the Cerb support. And also, when healing is so prevalent, when you've got an Ama, you've got an Olorun, you've got a Morgan Le Fay, a Surtr, all of them have sustain built into the kit, you're going to get value from Cerb passive just being near them.
So first blood for the Warriors, and now rotation of Pegon, beads and a dash to get him to the wall, second dash to get him out. Kyrmi's going to keep up this chase. Snoopy's got to hit all 3 shots of the ult, and he does so, but now it's Panitom rotating back in. He's got the blink, he's got the damage from Typhoon, it's just enough to take out Kyrmi, and now SOT transforms in, rotates himself to try and go for this pick, but Snoopy just a little too slippery, able to use that Bastion for safety and get back to the Tier 1. But Panitom might not be over. Sot still sticking around. I don't think he recognized that Panitom didn't go back to base. It's a collapse back in. Sot hits him with the Omen. The pull misses, but the damage is there. SOT will take the tower and allow Panitom to walk out with the kill.
I thought he was going to body block him with the Bastion there where he wasn't going to be able to walk through. Panitom confirms that kill. Unfortunate for Pegon. Had some juke shoes, but the ult from Snoopy connected. He drops down. And then, of course, when you got a solo laner who's ready to just ult in at any given moment on the Chernobog because you're the Morrigan, it's going to be able to help out. I don't think there was much that Snoopy does there. He even hit a good portion of his CC to try and peel for himself, but very difficult to try and live that dive once the Dark Omen is on you. But now I talked about it last game, and it's pretty much every Oni Warriors set, you got to bring it up. The objective pressure for both of these squads. I think the Oni Warriors will still have the ability to pull at any given moment, but now there's a Fafnir in question. Awesome Jake has the ability to just buff his team, use Kana to rotate out early on, get that Amaterasu passive. It can really start to help. Jake uses this ultimate just to invade the purple buff because there's no way you're catching Netrioid here. How much burst does Net have? He's got the ultimate if he really wants to confirm this, but it looks like the Stellar Burst was enough to scare off Awesome Jake. He goes in that Draconic form and immediately cancels it. Gets some extra mana back as well. That was a much needed buff to Fafnir, I think. I really do like the changes that became the way to this god. Makes him much more viable in a situation like this, where there is a lot of objective pressure around the map as is, which is kind of Fafnir's bread and butter. He needed something to stand out.
There was a buff that came to him not too long ago as well.
Long
It's one
dragon
that-
form.
The long dragon
Yep.
form, yeah. But the unfortunate part is that you had to get to level 20 to get that. Now, not often in Oni Warrior games do we see the supports make it to that level 20 point to get that 60-second transformation on Fafnir. And as soon as I saw that, I'm like, this is crazy. Fafnir's going to be back. He's all the rage. Everyone should be playing this god. And then no one did. And then Ares got his buffs. And as Mifflin highlights, Ares kind of maybe taking the place of Fafnir, but now seeing that Ares was banned, Awesome Jake wants to go for a pick like this, similar in that vein now. But also do, if we get a moment, want to go back to SOT and the whole streaming thing. It's not often that we promote the streams to them. Make sure to check out SOT. Pegon the sky, crash right back down. Kyrmi jumps up in the meteorite. But there was a point I remembered. I had to go back and check it. It was last year. SOT had done a 300-hour month of streaming. And now it's starting to pay off, and we're seeing why he might be one of the best players. Transforms in to the Susano, throws a Typhoon to Kyrmi, gets 1 kill on the way out. Level 10 on the Morrigan, a pick that he's just loved going to here in the solo lane.
Certainly has. Good transformation, not done yet. Here comes the ult on to Stu. Drops Sanctified Field, slow-mo, Ghastly Breath, and this paralyzing Smit. Are you kidding me? Of course Netrioid can hit the ult. He's CC immune, but Genetics hits the slow-mo stun. That is ridiculous. Do you know how fast Stuart is when he drops that ult?
Very.
And Genetics doesn't even care. Netrioid doesn't have to separate. The stun might be enough, but it looks like Awesome J can't close the gap. He needs to find both. And unfortunately misses one. That means the kill opportunity is gone, but does pull the beads off of Netrioid. And you know what, to your point, J-Mac, Miff has been highlighting this fact that Fafnir should be a lot better, but Ares in the meta. But a guy like me would simply counter the Ares with the Fafnir. So that's what I would do.
Well, instead we get the Cerberus to try and counter out what this Fafnir can do. It's 5-1 already for the Oni Warriors, a 3,000 gold lead, only 9 minutes in the game. We were sitting at this lead 21 minutes into the game in the previous matchup. But now, only 9 minutes, the Oni Warriors have been able to reclaim that lead. If you take just a look at experience, it's nearly everybody has at least a level against their opponents. I believe Stuart just procs over to 9, so it's only 1 between him and Netrioid. Genetics and Jake are the only ones even in level, but it has not been evil as far as pressure match. Genetics has just been unrelenting. Up to purple buffs, walking through mid lane, sitting at tier 1 tower, and even just doing this. There's literally nothing for Genetics to get here. He's not stealing farm. He's not getting kills.
He's not building prophetic stacks.
He's not building stacks. He's not even taking buffs. He is just there to be annoying. He is there to keep Stuart and Awesome Jake from walking to this tower that Netrioid can just take for himself.
Yep, Genetics pressured him out, make sure the net gets the free tower, and now tier 2. Again, you gotta think. Where's Kyrmi? This happened last game where Sot was having a field day over and right, and I'm like, where's Surtr? Surtr was over on the left side of the map. Now, seems like Kyrmi's looking towards Pegon, but I don't know if you've tried to gank a Chernobog.
Oh, he tried.
Yeah, you go into the wall, come back out, go up, come back down, go into the wall, leave. You still have beads, you still have Aegis. It's not a fun time. Awesome Jake getting caught out between towers at this point because the Oni Warriors are safe anywhere. I wouldn't be surprised if they start proxying between Phoenix. Who's going to stop them?
Well, nobody at this
This man's
point.
just jumping in the tower for fun.
Jack walks in the tower, tanks it, so Pegon and the rest of the team can kill Snoopy. Jack goes to the ult, gets the one out of Kyrmi, who's going in by himself. Maybe wise to pull a 180 and go right back to your tier 1 tower, but with Netrioid still here, Genetics standing in mid, and a minion wave on the way. They're going to need a lot more to defend this tier 1 tower. Netrioid, he's giving up on lane. So, all right, cool, my job's done. I took down a tower. I'm going to level up over Stu. Genetics has jump. He gets stunned out by Kyrmi. Needs a little more damage, and he can't get it. It's up to Cxnnahh to close that out, but now Panitom has rotated in. Typhoon hits 2, and Pegon has crashed back in with the party. Netrioid swinging away at Kyrmi. It's a double for Cxnnahh, which is a great start for the Gladiators, but it's starting to go downhill with the rotations in. Triple pull from SOT, triple kill for Cxnnahh, and Sot gets one as well. Snoopy picks up the 4th one of the fight. A massive swing for the Gladiators in mid.
That's a huge rotation and a necessary one. Cxnnahh shows up big for the team there. All of which a little bit of over-aggression. I love the coordinated gank onto Genetics. That's what starts this all out, but the Oni Warriors, confident as always, decide to just double down and continue the fight. Netrioid's got no mana here, but is still sending out auto attacks. It looks like the last ult from Snoopy will not be enough, and Netrioid gets to live to see another day. The Oni Warriors still ahead in gold, but that's a great answer back from the Gilded Gladiators to show that they're not going to sit back and just get goose egg. They're finally starting to get some kills underneath their belt. Gold Fury available, Beacon spawned in. See if the Oni Warriors are just going to go for it immediately. There are no Gilded Gladiators nearby for now. Seems like that tower was the start of this fight, but you know, overcommitting for a tier 1, not something that surprises me given the way that the Oni Warriors play SMITE.
No, and what does Genetics do? You return to the scene of the crime, went right back to lane, jumping at Snoopy. Now I'll rotate over and help out Pegon and Netrioid, who have picked up their shield buff. 3 minutes ago, we were 3,000 gold lead for the Warriors. 3 minutes later, we're still at that exact same point. So even despite all those kills for the Gladiators, the couple answered back from the Warriors kept things even. But most importantly, I think out of all of that one, is that Cxnnahh comes up with a 3-0 swing, had a really rough game number 1, constantly being camped and dove by SOT and Pegon. Makes his first rotation very early in the game. It's not often we see the solos get that involved. You know, 12 minutes in, especially with the changes to Beacon, but Cxnnah's rotation really saves the day for the Gladiators.
Yeah, and I think Cxnnahh was just tired of being behind, right? If you're able to make that rotation while you're still even or ahead, you can make that kind of play. Kyrmi forced into the beats thanks to the ultimate from Genetics. Awesome Jake's on the way. Actually did just jump over the wall. Does he try and help his team? Or is that it? I mean, Cxnnah's over on right, does have the teleport available. This Amaterasu could join at any moment, but has not sent over because the Oni Warriors haven't started the Fury. That's what really starts the fight, right? Are you baiting Gold Fury? Or are you trying to get the Gladiators to step forward? Now they'll walk up. There's a lot of burn here for the Oni Warriors. They might be too late.
Fury's going fast, 50% already. Awesome Jake, the closest one in to try and do it for a steal, but it's too late. Cxnnahh to the back line. It's Stuart who takes down SOT. And Cxnnah keeps the other 3 busy. Panitom rotating late into the fight. Kyrmi dives in but doesn't find anybody with the damage. Instead, it's Cxnnah returning it right back in. Takes down Genetics. That puts 4 in a row for him, but Stu gets shut down by Panitom. Jake sticks around a little too long, and Pegon puts down the dragon and keeps the fight going. Dive in towards Snoopy. He gets hit by the dragonfly, rooted in place, and one more in hand. It is a double for Pegon.
Wow, number 1, Sot dying before ulting, and still this Oni Warriors fight is looking so strong is a bit ridiculous. Number 2, Panitom gets a massive wraparound there. Hits a 4-man Typhoon, 3-man pull. The rest of the team able to go, and Sot actually transformed into Pegon. Ends up flying underneath the tower because the back was channeled. The Oni Warriors are heading for this Pyromancer. After their fight, they get themselves the Gold Fury, get a few picks, and grab the Pyromancer for their troubles. But at least Stu got his first kill. He was able to kill Sot again before that ultimate went through, so Sot didn't even get a transformation off. It's a little bit ridiculous that you lose one of your key players who didn't even get a massive transformation, and Panitom still says, I'll carry this fight, don't you worry. Just let me walk from behind and hit a 4-man ultimate.
Keeps things alive for the Oni Warriors in another fight that was starting to look a bit dire, even despite the lead that the Oni Warriors had going into that one. Get the Fury, win the fight after, push their lead to a little over 5,500 now for the Oni Warriors. It's now starting to get dicier for the Gilded Gladiators, but they still have a little bit of that fight left in them. Snoopy starting to get some pop-off damage for himself, though it's kind of hard to compete with what Netrioid's been putting out. Look at the player damage charts. Netrioid is nearly double the next person.
Oh, man.
I should say the first person on the Gladiators
That's
below
a tier
him.
2, man. He wasn't even out of position.
Was a tier 2.
Unlucky.
Look, SOT last game proved that even a tier 2 tower is not safe when he and Pegon are 2v1 diving Cxnnah.
Did his relics just come up? I didn't get a good look. They're definitely up now. I'm wondering if they just came up, because you got to think, well,
fire.
Yep, 15 minutes. You got Kyrmi, you got Awesome Jake. That's your steal attempt.
Gotta steal pretty tough. pretty tough ask there for Awesome Jake for the rest of them. Kyrmi up in the Meteor.
Not
Will be
gonna
able
go
to
too
get over
far.
the wall. He gets into mid lane, but he's already been spotted by Genetics. The breath isn't there for the slow, but in the sky is one. Panitom goes for the pull. Does he get anything this time? It's SOT to the opposite side to take down Stu. SOT transformed into a Chernobog just to camp Stu's lane. Puts him down the 5th time this game. The Oni Warriors continue their march up. Fire on all 5. Tier 2 tower and mid down.
Tier 2's down, but the Phoenix is a little bit of a tougher ask. I think the Oni Warriors should probably be backing up here, but Genetics still sieges forward. That Phoenix is going to start hurting. As you can see, the HP's not looking too good.
Kana walks up. Uses the ultimate to get away. Pegon tanking up the Phoenix for the time. Passes it back over to Genetics. SOT with the long walk back. But now, the Gilded Gladiators still holding firm under Phoenix for as long as possible, but with Netrioid able to poke in and out of that to separate, slowly working away the minions in the last of this health bar.
I mean, everyone respawned here. This Phoenix is low, but still is a 5v5 at 17 minutes underneath Phoenix. Who's going to tank it up here? Genetics doesn't have the HP to do so. It seems like they're just going back and forth, letting the Gilded Gladiators heal and reset. They don't have to make this play, J-Mac. They could back up, but they just don't want to.
They probably should back up, but Panitom tanks up the Phoenix too long. They do manage to take down the bird. And Kyrmi up in the sky. His target is Netrioid, but he's immune for the time being. Netrioid de-transforms out of it, and will get some return fire before he and his partner Genetics go down. The Gilded Gladiators, they get 2 with the kills, but they still lost their Phoenix throughout all of it.
Yeah, I mean, that's clearly what the Oni Warriors were looking for. Genetics jumped in. I believe he was trying to die for the team there, which ends up working out. Sot is caught out here, but he has a lot of different options to try and escape. His ult is still available.
Oh
no
my God,
way
he's
they're
going
trying
back.
to fight this, though.
He went back in. He just soloed Kyrmi all by himself. He says, I can do whatever I want. Sure, okay, no big deal. You know, we lose, what, Pegon? Who cares? It's SOT. He's on the Morrigan. He's just doing his own thing. He's trying to go for a Fury.
No, he's not going to steal this.
SOT's going to try and steal, or maybe just go for a fight. Can't get the stun that he's hoping for. Kana will spot him out. He doesn't get the stun. He missed it. He missed the stun. And Panitom walks back in and takes down Jake. They didn't even get the Fury. The Gilded Gladiators are losing everything.
He juked the dazzling offensive stun, still going back in. Snoopy, what are you doing so close? Here comes Panitom. And now Stu's forced into the ultimate, but he's trading good damage. Panitom has to run.
Typhoon's there. It's not enough damage for the kill. SOT could go back in. He doesn't have his transformation. Genetics is back on the scene. Stun hits Kana. And the sigil misses SOT. Teleport back in by Panitom, and he misses the pull. A beats from Snoopy keeps him alive, but Pegon is still here because he is flown right back in. Take another one down. 17 kills for the Oni Warriors. A tier 2 tower standing, but without the minions, it'll be a moment before they can knock it away. I say a moment, only because the minions are just now showing up, and it's only Jake to defend.
Pegon and Genetics are still at tower line. Just back up and group with the team. You don't have to get this tier 2. Awesome Jake surging forward. They're not going to be able to kill him because here comes Kana. This is going to be scary. Jake does not have to jump forward here. I was going to say, if Jake jumps in, yeah, he could die, but should just be able to run at this point. We haven't even gotten to the part where the beacons unleash the Titans yet, man.
Beacon 2.
This is Beacon 2.
This thing spawns in at like 17.5 minutes. It's been sitting there for 2 because the Warriors are shoving a Phoenix and then just fighting in the jungle 1v3, 1v3, 1v3 every time they walk in.
I'm still disgusted that not only did Sot live with no beads that whole time, that it didn't even look like he was going to die. Like, it wasn't like, oh my god, Sot made it out. It was like, is his health bar even dropping? Just jukes so much. And unfortunately, the Gilded Gladiators are 10,000 gold down at 20 minutes. There's another Fire Giant spawning here soon. They still have 2 Phoenixes and 2 tier 2 towers, which means they have some bastions of defense. But the Oni Warriors are not playing 5v5 Smite by any means. They are constantly spread across the map looking for individual 1v1s, 1v2s. They have 2 Chernobogs at any given moment. If Pegon wants to find a solo kill or if Sot, they're just going to fly in. They can just choose where they want to go.
Sot and Panitom start working on the tier 2 tower in solo. Get it to about half HP. And Pegon will continue his split push left and actually chased Kana out, who was split pushing himself for the Gilded Gladiators to try and find some way back in the game. But we're 21 minutes in. Look up top, and I see nearly 11,000 gold, and will be 11K plus here, probably 12,000 now, with that tier 2 in solo going down. Still one over on the left side. Stu just went back to base. Everybody who was there went back now. The Oni Warriors got to defend. Pegon flies in with the rest of the team. Genetic picks up Kana, throws him right into the Typhoon, but a sanctified field makes it a little bit harder for Genetics to get out of here. Supernova zones out a couple, and Pegon is just boxing away at whoever stands up to him in the wall for some defense. Panitom nearby, but Kyrmi crests in, gets the knock up and takes down Pegon, but SOT, he's got another kill for himself, and Genetics grabs the second one. Kana will now be on cooldown for the rest of the next 40 seconds. SOT flies in, says the Chernobog's pretty cool, I can do that too, picks up a double kill. And now it's Awesome Jake who's being a cause for the rest. As Panitom grabs a killing spree and a 4th kill. The Oni Warriors, they might not even give the next beacon a chance to spawn back.
Are they going to go in for the end call here? I mean, Snoopy's got plenty of damage. There's a lot of low health targets, but the Titan is being bounced back and forth. Here comes the Fire Wave. Who can take this up, though? Genetic doesn't have the HP for it. They have to reset.
Do have a Fire Minion Wave, but very low health bars for everybody nearby, and not an insane amount of health and sustain back to them just yet. So the Oni Warriors, for probably the first time this game, will let off the gas pedal, head back to base, regroup, spend up some of the massive influx of gold that they've added to their pockets. Charlie, it is now 14,000 for the Oni Warriors in the lead here, 23 minutes in.
A little bit ridiculous, but not over yet. And honestly, it's not even in the Gilded Gladiators' hands at this point. If the Oni Warriors keep doing what they're doing and just ignoring Fire Giant and grouping up, it's going to be questionable. Panitom doesn't have mana but has Magi, so it shouldn't be in too much danger here. Let's see how long the Gilded Gladiators chase. They're forward. They want to go for a Fire Giant play or something along those lines. There's 2 waves of Fire Vengeance, though. And like I said, Panitom has the Magi. Finally, he's going to chase down, but he's going to get out.
He still has beads, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Went through all that, lost Magi, still goes for beads. Pegon to the sky. Genetics hits 5 with ultimate, but only brings 3 back down. It huge damage. Pegon came back for 1, and Sok grabs his own double right after. The Oni Warriors, they took a moment to breathe, buy some gold, let Panitom reset, all just to keep up the chase anyways. SOT's not going to give up. Snoopy better run a whole lot faster if he wants to get away from Sod. He's already used his CC to keep things back, but I think for now Snoopy and Kana might be safe, and that's might in italics, not a definitive. That is I don't know if they're actually safe or not just yet. But SOT is going up just with Pegon. The 2 of them are just gonna walk up and end the game.
Are they just gonna end?
What's happening? Why are these 2 allowed to just end the game? They're laughing about it.
Look at those nerds doing fire. What are you guys hitting fire for? The Titans, you can just kill it if you want to. I cannot believe this, man. Pegon and Sot, just walk in and do it all.
Is that allowed?
I mean,
are you allowed to just walk up and end the game like that?
I will give credit to Genetics for hitting a 5-man Cerberus ult that started that fight. More so the Gilded Gladiators for grouping as heavily as they did. And of course, Panitom earlier on, he hit a 4-man Typhoon. That was pretty cool. But at the end of the game, it was the double Chernobog duo that ends it all.
Okay, so what I'm learning this set is you gotta ban Chernobog.
You can't give Sot
You can't give Sot set. You can't let Chernobog in at all because there's 3 people on that team that could play it.
True.
Question mark, profit. That's the steps to victory that I found for the Gilded Gladiators.
I don't know who we should give this information to.
We need to give it to the Gladiators. We need to let them know. You got to ban Chernobog, fill in the rest of the blanks in between, and then profit, because it has just been a devastating look for them so far. Oni Warriors are commanding this set. They take game 2. We're going to take a quick break and come back to game 3.
I'm on the edge, I ain't coming down. I get too high, I'm afraid of the ground. I'm young and I'm paid to play with these sounds. Ignoring the call, she shutting that down. Started at the top and I'm taking it down off the champagne. Took a break from the brown on a rampage. I've been giving it brown. Shawty been solid some time now. I'm my life for the wine, dine, and I'm with it. Look where we started and look where we at. I can see where we headed, but I can't see me finish. 3 years ago, I was down on my last. Was stuck at the crib, I couldn't get out of my bed. Then I realized it's all in my head. And I can't go back to the past, yeah. Except now I'm moving, put all in the music for more like a movement is brewing. I cannot picture us losing. I'm sharp when I shoot it, the world is my tutor. She wanna lay block in public, but know that I'm published, we settle for safety. Not in the street, but I'm on the same muscle, that schedule been been driving her crazy. They talk like they know me, but know that they bluffing unless it's somebody that pays me. Keep minding your business, the money been printing, my nigga just gotta go get it. I'm in the zone through the winter. I'm trying to see Rome, see Venice. I'm at the summit, I'm thumbing my budget, my nigga, it's nothing, just part of my image. I need a minute. I know they live it, admit it, I'm teed up. Little baby, she a teaser. Tell her to follow the leader. I put that weight on my shoulders, so let's run up the check in my D's, yeah. Really not nobody real, it feel like the stars align and you can see, yeah. Just look at the drip, it's lit. I've been on 10, I'm active, yeah. Sliding that thing, tell them to step back, cause I'm out of their range. I'm bad again, yeah, I'm active again, yeah. The jaded, they tangled in feelings. I'm on a wave, I know that they hate it. Praises to high, ain't nobody really. I'm gifted, won't trade it for nothing, I'm in it. I get deposits, so I keep it cautious. No cash at the crib, everything been legit. I keep it solid, I know they gon' talk when I get it. They claim they're part of this, but I'm dolo with it. I'm chasing the riches, the riders that Hail Mary to the Benjamins. Niggas is mad, they cynical. They hate in your heart, waste your energy. They want what we on, they envy, don't pay it no mind. Too focused on enemy. My soul's too pure to have enemies, so I hope you can find you some inner peace. I need a minute. I know they live it, admit it, I'm teed up. Little baby, she a teaser. Tell her to follow the leader. I put that weight on my shoulders, so let's run up the check in my D's, yeah. Really not nobody real, it feel like the stars align and you can see, yeah. Just look at the drip, it's lit. I've been on 10, I'm active, yeah. Sliding that thing, tell them to step back, cause I'm out of their range. I'm bad again, yeah, I'm active again, yeah.
Well, it's a 2-0 lead for the Warriors, and Mifflin, while it's not as maybe glamorous as some of the accolades of Game 1, the Warriors still get things done the way that we expect, right? Very aggressive, very proactive play, and unfortunately for the Gladiators, just not able to match that energy fully.
Yeah, I feel like, if anything, watching this set, it feels like to me the Oni Warriors are just stress testing every single interaction. I feel like they're not putting a whole lot of respect on map. They're willing to take 2v3s or 3v5s or 4v5s and saying
2v5 sometimes.
2v5s in game one. They're just saying, look, if we get punished, fine. We've already done so much, and even on the punish, as long as one of us is alive, we'll be able to prevent it from being too catastrophic. And the Gilded Gladiators see these overextensions. They find 1 or 2 picks. It keeps the game maybe a little bit more even than you would expect, but if you were to look at the golden experience, it never really ever was even. It always was the Oni Warriors. And in saying that, although kills look even, I think this is a very one-sided game once more. A lot of it could be due to the fact that Pegon has just been allowed to teleport in every single team fight that has ever happened because he's been given Chernobog too many times. It could be that the Gilded Gladiators are going for maybe some different selections that we've become used to seeing from them. In particular, I think Kyrmi on the Surtr, although looks good individually, maybe isn't fitting exactly what his team compositions want from him or what his team wants from him. It's hard to say. The Oni Warriors are playing better, I think is really just the only way to word it.
Yeah, I was trying to think of a different way to maybe approach it, but no, you're right. They're just playing better. And we saw that in Game 1. Saw it again in Game 2. The Gladiators have to figure things out. That being said, when you, again, going back to their Dragon set a couple weeks ago, they got outright beat in Games 1 and 2, and then Game 3 is when things started to turn around, and depending on how you shake it, there's other ways to slice that entire analysis for it. Now, before we got into picks and bans, this has a point. We had been talking about pentakills, and you had mentioned numbers. And I'm going to flub it because I didn't bring my phone out here, so I don't have the message on me. But I think it was like 31-ish, 35 total, including SCC and SCL. Limiting it down, do you count relegations for SPL?
Yeah.
In that case, it was 15 total in the SPL over 10 years. So I was right to say it's no more than 20. And we got to see, again, one of those in Game 1. And we were kind of curious, like, what do the Warriors' comms sound like when something like that's going on? Well, we've got a little quick listen-in on that pentakill for you to see.
Yeah. Run it, please. I'm back. I have a 3K bot. We have a boggle to chase me. We can pick the bot. I have 3K bot. If you're the back. I see Surtr cannon. No, defense pot would be better. I'm coming. Damage pot. Chill. Let's come on, Blink. Come on, hit him. I'm coming from base. We should fight after. That. Boys, that's Surtr roll, that's Camera roll, Cameron.
Charon roll as well. Wait for Hades.
That's not Surtr. Can we help me?
Hades, relic.
Come to Daniel. Hold on, finish me. Olorun one, boys. Hades dash. Got him. Nice, you guys win this. Lock it up there. Surtr. Surtr beats. Hades, help bridge. Stance in 1.
Penta.
Let me get it.
Okay.
Come on, no. Go Fenrir.
Yeah, I'm going for the end.
On. Still another problem.
So, Mifflin, there's a lot that I'm pulling out of that one. I like how clean and concise the calls are.
From genetics.
But what's very interesting is it only happens until the 3rd kill. And then suddenly all of the comms became penta. And then we didn't really get to hear it because Sot blew the mic out. That's the 3 discerning factors of that is good comms into pentacomms into mic blown out.
No, I think my favorite part was the total apathy of Netrioid to the entire situation. Panitom spots it first, says, look, this might be a penta angle. And Netrioid's like, I'm just gonna go end the game, man. I'll go kill the Titan. It's like whatever. Get your kills, I guess. So, look, they're taking it easy. This is a stroll right now for the Oni Warriors. I mean, clearly.
Yeah, and I have a feeling that you could probably drop a pin at any point in their game and hear something roughly similar, or arguing over, well, I got the first 2 kills, that was my penta, things like that. I'm gonna keep going back to that. It's just fun. While I can do it, because once the set's over, who knows? And it might end here. Picks and bans Game 3. Warriors again in the first pick. And more importantly, Mifflin is the first pick team for a majority of this, actually all of this set so far. I have to give them a lot of credit because they are doing their best to save the first pick win rate right now. Over the last couple of weeks, it has skewed heavily in favor of the Chaos / second pick team. It was almost to the point where it was 70-30. I think it was 67-33 coming into this week. So the Warriors doing some due diligence to save some numbers. And right now just banning things out as per usual. Ares and the Pele, Yamoja and Athena.
Or give me a second.
Yeah,
just
you've
get
got your fingers crossed.
Moment of silence here. We're going to let the P's and B's do the talking. I'm not even concerned with what the Oni Warriors are banning. It simply doesn't matter to me. They did it themselves. They put their hands on the levers of power. I was praying for a Gilded Gladiators
Myth had a list of
Chernobog
10
ban.
gods in front of him that he was like, all right, which one of you do I need to pray to? Like,
Yeah,
who am I devoting my
like,
eternal soul?
whoever it is, I need to not see Chernobog over on the Oni Warriors side. The Warriors, they basically just say, yeah, we don't want to play it. That's all I'm seeing there. Is we just don't feel like it right now.
I don't really feel
like they would have first picked it. Great. Good for the Gilded Gladiators that the Oni Warriors mercy banned the Chernobog.
Pegon just sitting there like, guys, I really don't want to play him again. Like, I'm not getting a lot of good practice in. It's just Bog. Like, give me something new. New he will get. I guess the question shifts. What's first pick worthy now?
Man, if Amaterasu makes it through, I don't think they will first pick it because it's the Oni Warriors. And I wouldn't be surprised
they'd first
if they
pick Hades over that, honestly.
Yeah, they would. Or they'd just go for some like goofier stuff. I'm like halfway expecting Freya support. I'm no longer expecting Freya support. Banned out by the Gilded Gladiators.
Up on the rise.
Yeah, on her support, stock's looking real good here for the Oni Warriors. Look, they could go just about any way they want. Sets out there. You can grab Baba Yaga, of course. Raijin's still incredibly strong. The majority of the Warriors all still out there too. So plenty of options available to the Onis here. It's just, what do you feel like doing, I think. When Chernobog's taken off the table, I think the first pick selection has so many more options. Chernobog just so good that if he is available, it should be that every single time.
They're going to go for Olorun. And Sanctified Fields we've seen. What you had said was great win ahead. And that's just because when you're having to try and defensively aggress into somebody with Sanctified Fields, it doesn't always feel that great. The Warriors, Mifflin, and not to mince words, but they've spent a majority of this set ahead. And so it feels like it'll be a good spot for an Olorun to just exist.
Yeah, just vibe out in the lane, farm it up. Seems to be in Netrioid's MO. I think we'll be in a decent position to do exactly that. Unless we're looking at the duo lane now for the Gilded Gladiators. That is a very aggressive two-man core. Lots of PvP potential, good slows, good damage output. Hyper aggressive at level 3, high auto attack output from the soul. Means that you're probably going to be able to pressure out those bastions. All depending on what the Oni Warrior support is and whether or not it can line up. I do want to point a correction for myself. Excuse me, Raijin is competitively banned for the entire weekend. Shouldn't have brought that up. It's just in my head. He's just a good pick. I was just thinking about him.
He was doing his best Claude Rains impression yesterday.
Who?
He played the Invisible Man in the 1933 movie The Invisible Man.
He's doing his best John Cena impression.
Yeah. That's, damn, yours is just better, man. Yours is just better.
No, they were both good.
Mine's like real relevant for people who also had a dad that was really into trivia knowledge, and so you've got a bunch of really obscure, specific tidbits of information.
Right.
Yeah. Or if you've seen Rocky Horror Picture Show, it's in the song at the very, at the very, very, very beginning. Yeah.
I knew some of those words for sure.
Soul Cerberus locked in for Gladiators. I haven't done a whole lot of talking about them. How do you like, I mean, Amaterasu, Khepri gets locked in, so assuming this is going to be maybe Hades as a matchup, and Khepri Olorun versus Soul Cerb as the duo lanes.
You got okay pressure. It's actually surprisingly decent pressure from Khepri. What makes him so strong in the duo is that he's giving his minions protections while simultaneously dealing damage to the enemy minions, which could mess up some of your mental math on wave damage and who's going to have the better clear. So I think there's certainly some nuance to be discussed about who's going to have pressure in the duo. Maybe comes down to first interaction in PvP, who's poking out who first, whether or not Cerberus or Khepri takes a little bit too much damage on first wave. So relatively even matched, but if I had to guess which one's going to find higher kill potential, I feel like Olorun Khepri's kill confirmation's a little bit easier pluck into second ability from Olorun is going to do immense damage at level 2, whereas Sol and Cerberus a little bit more auto attack focused, need to find that stun from Cerberus. But either way, should be able to fight into each other relatively well, assuming that is the Sol lane matchup between Amaterasu and Hades. It's one that we've seen a whole lot of. Amaterasu suffers for the first 5 levels and then gets her first defense item online, or maybe her first wave clear item, and all of a sudden she's clearing waves just as quickly, but still not exactly in a position to take that boxing match because of all the sustain that Hades has built into the kit. So it's more so about who's getting the rotation first, who's getting involved in that mid-team fight. Are you taking control of the totem, or are you taking control of the neutral camp? For the most part, you'd probably just straight up expect Hades to be able to do it because of all the wave pressure he should have throughout the early. I like the composition on both sides. For the Oni Warriors, I'm looking at dive now. Feels like you just need a standard assassin that can just go into the back line of the Gilded Gladiators and run amok and know that Khepri is going to have your back with Scarab's Blessing. For the Gilded Gladiators, their composition, I think, really not lacking for anything right now. We've seen each composite piece. You've got your tower killers, you've got your initiators, you've got your divers. Maybe just a little bit of consistent DPS needs to be on the mind here. Curious to see what Snoopy decides to take for himself, assuming it isn't the set. Could be the set, could not be. If it is, has decent potential to find some pressure through mid, but I wonder how it would look with this new wave Surtr Kyrmi that we've been getting from the Gilded Gladiators. Either way, feels like the Oni Warriors probably slightly favored as of now. New wave Surtr Kyrmi gonna have to take a back seat though. Oni Warriors deciding to take it for a test drive.
And wow, this changes a good bit for what I was about to ask you, because I was going to say, what would it say about the week that we've had that we got an on-her support in a set against the Kings from the Warriors, and then maybe if they, they're up 2-0 here, didn't do something maybe a little silly. Olorun, Ama, Khepri. Those 3 made a lot of sense. Locked in, felt right. Surtr Mercury. Make it a little more interesting at the bottom, because you've got 2 gods there that like to be in the jungle fighting for each other. Who's the mid? Who's mid? Can you play Merc mid?
I mean, you can. You could. I don't think either of those picks are mid laners.
Olorun mid. That one we've actually seen.
Could be Olorun mid.
I know where those other guys are going. I know like what Batz does.
Not a single god on the Oni Warriors feels like a mid lane pick to me.
Do you think are any of them going to the role you think they're going to go to, or are we?
Khepri is support.
Okay.
I hope. I really hope. Amaterasu is solo. I hope. The other 3, we can only hope.
I thought you were going to hold your breath for a moment there. What about, Soul carry, Cerberus, duo, Hades, solo, set mid, Batz jungle? That feels right on the Gladiators. What are the strengths that you are maybe getting from the Gladiators comp and trying to bounce back against the Warriors here?
High CC output, massive threat on beads. There's a lot of frontline targets the Oni Warriors are just going to be throwing at you on the Gilded Gladiators, so counter initiation being strong thanks to Fear No Evil, pretty good. And Fear No Evil actually has a sneaky good matchup into Khepri. Massive AoE CC disruption can stop Scarab's Blessing in these narrow margins, so opportunities there, and even barring that, you've got a 2-second silence from Hades, and just the ability to disrupt and displace in the team fight makes it even more difficult with that Stygian Torment. To have Khepri just disrupt you. So I think the Gilded Gladiators have good opportunities at preventing the revive from Khepri, and I think that's going to be a major turning point for the Gilded Gladiators and the Warriors, whether or not that Khepri is getting the value of his ultimate. If he isn't, Khepri feels like one of the worst supports, just has pluck, and that's about it. If he is getting it, one of the most annoying things on the planet to have ever had to deal with, right? It just feels really bad to have to work through your kills twice.
I've got bad news for all the Khepri jungle stands there in chat. That's not happening. You were right. Khepri is going solo. Not solo. He's going support. Sorry, that one's a mess up on my part. He is going support, and he's going to be in the lane with Olorun. It is solo that you did get wrong. That's where I was trying to go. That's where the words got.
Okay.
You thought it was going to be Ana. Do you want me to tell you, or do you want to play a little guessing game?
Gotta be Ama jungle, Surtr jungle, Surtr solo, Merc jungle. Yeah, Ama mid.
Yeah.
Obviously. Guys, I was just keeping it ambiguous on the desk here so you could have fun in the chat at home. Obviously, I know what's going on. That's why I'm here. That's why I've got my name on this thing. Of course, Amaterasu mid. Come on, man. How do you
honestly,
not know that?
It's wild because, like, I don't know if yours has it. Mine has like a note underneath.
What's yours say?
It says Ama mid.
Mine says live media.
Oh. Mine said, never mind. I was going to make that would have been a self-deprecating joke. Fire Gore. That's what it says.
Oh, no.
No, we'll figure it out. Hopefully I'm still here after this game. We're going to find out what happens in Game 3 as we jump to the casters.
Well, the Oni Warriors are going to keep it a bit silly. Now, I will say, and I'm going to peel back the curtain a little bit because now Trelly and I, it's Trelly joining me here on the cast, we were sitting in our little room waiting for the picks and bans to go through, and all of a sudden we hear this loud uproar come from one of the booths.
A shout, if you will.
Yes. And I can only guess it was from the Oni Warriors booth because immediately following that uproar, we look down at the picks and bans and a Freya pops up. And what did Genetics say he wanted to do on that post-game interview last week? He said, I wanted to play Freya support and they banned it from me. So I can only imagine the shouting that we heard was the entire team upset that Genetics didn't get to bring Freya support.
I think it was just Genetics, honestly.
He may have been the entire shout.
Yeah, I don't think it was the whole team. It was loud enough to be the whole team, but I think that was just his pure rage. But we get to see something a little bit more interesting. Well, not necessarily more interesting than Freya support, but Pegon on the Amaterasu mid. That should be... yeah, I mean, interesting is the word I would use.
That should be something.
Yeah, it will be something. There's no doubt in my mind. It will be an Amaterasu mid. The question is, how well does it do in the set? Are you even looking to get pressure? Are you trying to find solo kills? All that and more on this episode of the Oni Warriors, hosted by J-Mac and Trelly.
And Vile. Gotta include Vile there.
Well,
we gotta
he's
remember,
not the host.
He's not the host. He's like the director.
Okay.
Yeah, directed by Vile. Normally it's directed by Doug, but Doug taking a bit of a break this weekend, as he needs one.
He said, I can't stand watching. I don't want to see any Amaterasu mid. I need to take a break.
I can't watch this. No, Doug taking a much needed little break as he has seen and been a part of more SMITE games than every single one of us here in this building. So, good on him for getting a little bit of time off. Vile stepping in for us here this weekend's been doing a great job of that. And now we get to see the Oni Warriors here in game number 3. Still be a bit weird. The Amaterasu mid, we'll probably get to talk about that as it goes through. I want to talk about Surtr solo, though, because on release, it was intended for him to be in the solo lane, get that warrior style, be that early solo lane boxer. Didn't really see a whole lot of Surtr. I think we saw maybe 1 or 2 games, and then players kind of went, yeah, he's not all that great. Maybe we just don't pick this one. Now going up into a Hades, which is kind of seen as one of the top solo laners at this point, how does that matchup kind of pan out in solo lane?
I mean, it seems like it's going to be a whole lot of bullying early just because Surtr comes out swinging at level 2. And then after that, Kana should just be able to insta-clear the wave and run away. I mean, SOT is not building anti-heal so far. It looks like he's just going for a typical like Vital Amplifier or CAD Club type of build. I mean, there's a few different items in that tree that actually work pretty well with Surtr. Either way, that's not going to be able to stop the healing from Kana, right? You're just going to be trying to do damage afterwards when the wave is already gone, or vice versa. And I can already tell you, given the build that Stot's going for, he's not doing this. But just recently, I had the... Wait, why is Pegon...
What?
Is he going to start proxying? Huh? Is he going to start proxying?
No, he's invading. Oh, there's no buff there anyways. Snoopy already cleared that. Maybe an invade on Kyrmi's jungle. Nah, Pegon will leave that. Panitom will still chase, but Pegon just walked through tower to go to red
Who's
buff.
going to stop him?
Apparently nobody. Nobody is going to stop this man. Nobody has stopped this man thus far today, and a tier 1 tower is not going to stop him either.
I mean, what's a tower but
a speed bump?
But 100 gold for your team in a bit, you know? Like, that's the way Pegon's thinking of it. He's like, hey.
A speed bump on his car journey.
Man, Kyrmi can't even get his speed. He's got to go in for the overhead smash, and there's no way he can get it. So he just has to watch as at 3 minutes, a Mercury takes his speed buff.
Snoopy might not even get a green buff. Genetics trying to take this one away. Jake is here. I don't even know if Jake's going to stop up. Panitom just soloed Kyrmi at red? And then he steals red?
Did Kyrmi stay at 2 HP? Why didn't he back?
I gotta imagine he backed, but
I don't
just
think
walk
he did,
back
man.
in,
There's no way he
lose
died.
it again. Thankfully, Genetics didn't steal green buff, so there's at least that. Pegon might try and steal it, though. No, okay, no, Panitom's there. Not a solo kill, but it's 2.
He got the red.
Well, he got the red earlier because he killed Kyrmi. Now, Panitom killed Kyrmi, takes the red buff, and then Pegon walks between towers again. This tier 1 tower is imaginary to him. It doesn't actually exist in Pegon's eyes.
J-Mac, I need to remind you that everyone starts off at level 0, like, even, you know? Like, you spawn at level 1, everyone's even.
That's great.
And now the Oni Warriors are building up close to a 2,000 gold lead in 4 minutes. You have to lose just about everything to be down 2K at this point.
Oh, and they have lost just about everything, including that kill over in the soul lane that we missed out on, where Kana falls down. SOT. I don't know if it was a true solo kill, if Panitom even got any damage there. It might have just been all SOT this time, crashing in with the ultimate immediately after. I think it legitimately was just a solo, and it was.
It definitely was.
Panitom showed up for the assist. The assist gold, that's it. SOT on the Surtr. Getting a lead up over the Haze, which has, again, been widely heralded as one of the best solo laners right now, just because of how easy it is to clear and then be able to bully after. But Zot's got the Uno reverse card here with the Surtr.
Yep, he does go into the Sekhmet Scepter as well. Finishes that very quickly, as far as I'm concerned, in this matchup. Already Panitom's critting for 300, man. That's back-to-back crits. Hold up. That's not allowed.
Wait, hold on. We changed that. We fixed crit to where it doesn't do that, especially when you have 1 crit item.
I don't know, man. I just saw 2 crits. If I see him punch a Bastion or a mid-camp and it's another crit, someone's going to have to check that PC.
I'm calling the police.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that one out. No, Kana. Okay, I thought Kana was about to go into the jungle. Remember, he does not have beach for 50 more seconds. Could be in some trouble. What
is happening?
Oh, this is rude.
This is just bullying at this point. Fear no evil's not even enough for Pegon to stop. He's got ultimate of his own. Sonic Boom by Panitom. There's a crit onto 1. Genetics gets another. And, well, Jake gets an amazing triple ultimate. The problem is everyone around him is already dead. He's losing his speed buff. He's losing his teammates. The Gilded Gladiators falling apart in Game 3. And it's not even from their own play. It's just the Oni Warriors walking up and taking everything. This map belongs to them.
They can do no wrong, J-Mac. I said it last game, and I'll say it again. They're never out of position. They were just 3-man stunned in a tier 2 tower at 6 minutes in the game, and they were not out of position. And that is ridiculous, because anyone else would be out of position at that point, because the team was so grouped, because they've starved so much farm, because they were all grouped up together. The Gilded Gladiators, there was not much they could do about it, and it does seem like it's going to continue. Pegon builds Transcendence on the Amaterasu mid. Why not? Get some ability damage going. He could have built, I don't know, Dev Gauntlets, and I would have been fine with it. There isn't much that these boys could do that is going to put them in a negative position when you're this far ahead.
Panitom has 2 stacks on Rage already.
Yep.
He went back to base, bought it, walked up, got 2 crits for 305, 1 onto Kyrmi, 1 onto on a camp, and then just goes up to enemy speed. 2 kills for him, credit his way. Now a Rage going into more crit. This got to be one of the earliest spectral armors we've ever seen. Netrioid.
Oh.
He waits to the very end of that. Waits till the tail end of the banish before he uses the beads.
Yep.
It gives time for Genetics to rotate over just in case the fight kept going.
Yep. Held the beads as long as possible just to see if Stuart was going to drop that supernova. He did. Ghastly Breath doesn't even break the shielding there for Genetics.
Oh, now he's dead.
Yeah, should definitely be dead. Does fall down. So, forced a fight over on left, which is definitely the correct call. Panitom looking for a fight. Doesn't get too lucky on the start of that engagement. Get any extra crits. Does some decent damage, but I don't think you want to send it here. I think you give up this shield buff.
There's 4 people here. Yeah, there's 4 in duo at 7 minutes to defend a shield buff. Jake is just gonna die, rooted by Genetics. Made you look, doesn't get the damage, so he needs the Sonic Boom. Will walk in, needs a couple more punches, but there's an ultimate from Genetics to keep him alive. Kyrmi's right on top. Genetics dashes out, and who else but Pegon to show up and ruin the party once more. Jake down, Stuart silenced out, He doesn't even have to separate to get away. Genetics can just hit the root and a little more damage. The separate gets in just in time. Stuart spared by his own ability. Cxnnahh not. SOT solos him again.
Dives the tower for free. Why not? No one else is going to rotate over
Everybody's
to try
on
and
the
help
left.
him. Yeah, Cxnnahh is behind. And to his own accord, was not ganked. Panitom did not do anything in that first solo kill. And Panitom did not do anything in that second solo kill. The solo lane not looking too hot. The Oni Warriors grab themselves a pre-9-minute Gold Fury. That's absolutely free. And they're able to continue farming up. Again, there's not many... If there was a game, J-Mac, to go for a 10-minute FG, this would be the game. And I don't think Sod is losing this, if I'm honest.
No, Sod is smacking Snoopy around.
He's gonna die! No!
Sod, he gets another kill. It's like Snoopy comes up for like the play fight. He's playing a game of punchy. He played a game of punchies with Sod. You know, you saw him at the weekend. And Sod just goes full force on the first swing. The Warriors are up 7-1 in kills. 5,000 in gold, and we're not even 10 minutes in the game. It might be another kill. Sot's not done. Want to play a game of punches with Cxnnahh next, but Cxnnah's got a tier 1 tower at least to back him up.
I mean, diving that would have been very difficult to try and pull off, but it's not something I don't think the Oni Warriors would be that afraid of. Again, Fire Giant spawns in 20 seconds. That's the point of the game where we're at already. We've got plenty of crit damage. Netrioid could bring a bit. I think they're going to play this one smart, though. Dial it back for the time being. There's still every tier 1 tower except for mid up, so not like FG is going to be easy to try and take down. That said, though, Pegon has been sitting at this tier 2 tower trying to find any reason to try and fight if possible. Doesn't seem like Snoopy's going to give him that reason.
Snoopy's there just to collect farm at this point. Pegon's here to collect bodies if he can. Kyrmi's not even safe. That speed buff isn't even there. That speed buff is not available, and Pegon is just chasing out Kyrmi. Genetic stun, picked up by Jake, thrown back into a Fear No Evil. Can't get the ult off to bring himself back. A second pick now for the Gilded Gladiators, but with Panitom nearby, the Gladiators may only be able to get the one. As Pegon keeps up his onslaught, Sot had to use ultimate because he's got Cxnnahh tier 1 tower. You might want to go back because Kyrmi's on the way. We'll hold on to the minion. Kyrmi with a blink. Overhead smash, not enough. Stun slow is there.
Jump.
Kyrmi gets the jump, gets the in-hand, and the tower shot's not enough. The Gilded Gladiators at least get their third kill.
That's a big shutdown, though. Kyrmi getting that kill is great. Had to land the jump there, had to get the slow to confirm that extra auto attack. I saw Genetics counting on his fingers how many ults were used on him just then to make sure that Khepri goes down before being able to get the Scarab's Blessing off. Pegon, of course, still living at the tier 2 tower, but that should be the end of the aggression for now. The Oni Warriors are in a position where if they're not fighting for objectives, it's probably not too smart to be fighting at all, right? Because they're just giving up bounties at this point. Surely, Panitom doesn't want to send an ultimate onto the tier 2 tower, so he will back up. Maybe we're just waiting for Beacon, J-Mac. That spawns in about 30 seconds. Like I said, if you're not going for the Fire Giant at 10 minutes when it spawns in, you're probably just sitting back waiting for more objectives to respawn here for you to do. Because it doesn't seem like the Oni Warriors are lacking confidence. They may just be lacking actual tank stats to tank up some of these tankier objectives.
Pegon swinging away at Jake. Another ultimate by the Cerberus. Pulls back to Kyrmi. Does have Fear No Evil used against Pegon, but it's a quick response with Dazzling Offensive. Gets jump away from Jake, and Netrioid shows up with his own ultimate. Genetic's waiting for that dash to come back off a cooldown, but it's plenty of damage for Netrioid. Takes down Awesome. Jake puts 8 on the board now for the Oni Warriors. Sot will use the beads against Cxnnahh just to keep swinging away and put him down to 40% health. Bastion is gone. You're calling for a 10-minute Fire Giant. Be a couple minutes delayed by the Oni Warriors, but still, a Fire Giant nonetheless might be the fastest Fire Giant this phase, maybe even this entire season. Fire Giant going low. The Oni Warriors do get it. Kyrmi goes in, has to use the beats, doesn't have Fear No Evil, but does have a jump. But Panitom has got his own ultimate to chase down Sot. Picks off Cxnnahh. Pegon stunned away. Panitom charging Sonic Boom. Trying to get Kyrmi. Might have to save it for the next push through. Well, he's gonna go for the long shot. Does get the stun. Dashes back. One more hit. And it's a crit for Panitom. Kyrmi down.
All the while, you're wondering, where's this set at? Where's Snoopy been? He's stealing speed buff, man. He is nowhere near the Oni Warriors at the moment. He's trying to get as far away from them as possible. Tier 2 tower will be going down here. Oni Fury, Beacon, all up for the Oni Warriors to take. And a 12-minute fire giant. It wasn't quite the 10-minute that I was looking for, but the Oni Warriors knew the assignment, and it was, let's get this one over as quickly as possible. We have way too much gold to not be forcing as much as we can.
Beacon spawns at 12. Minute and a half later, Cats by the Warriors. Gold Fury was already down. So an Oni Fury for the Oni Warriors. Netrioid can't continue tanking that one up, so go ahead and drop that down. And Trelly, probably the most staggering number out of all of this to pull from before this Pyromancer goes down, as I look up and I see a near 10,000 gold difference at 14 minutes. This is by far the most dominant game that we have seen from a team thus far, and this is saying a lot considering we just watched the Warriors do the same thing to the Camelot Kings in game 2 of their set. It was a 21.5-minute game then, and the Warriors might be on pace to break that time record.
They might try to. I mean, so far the farm isn't looking too outrageous for anyone besides SOT. I mean, being 15 and 14 is not bad, but being 16 and 14, now that's impressive. So SOT has plenty of gold in his mind. Phoenix being looked at, but SOT looks like he's diving forward. He's going to tank this one up. Already half health, but here comes Kyrmi to try and slow it down.
The Fear No Evil, but Phoenix is down. 14-43 Phoenix for the Oni Warriors. SOT, if there wasn't a fountain there, Snoopy would have died. Kyrmi does at the back of the Phoenix. Kana stunned out. Crits ringing in from Panitom. That's a second one. Awesome Jake jumps away. The Oni Warriors might not be healthy enough to go for the Titan just yet, but they have certainly asserted themselves here in the mid lane. That Phoenix down.
They're thinking about
back
it.
in. Jake pulled back. Damage from Netrioid too much. Now it's just Stuart and Snoopy. SOT fully alive and healthy.
Kyrmi
Are
in
the
5.
Oni Warriors gonna get a 15-minute game? Are you kidding me? What is the pacing that they have set? Won't happen just yet. 2 down on the Warriors. Maybe wishful thinking from them. Panitom gets some crits onto Snoopy. Kyrmi steps up. Pegon dashes out. The Gladiators have pushed him out.
Yeah, something the Oni Warriors fail to consider is that because everyone's such low level, they can't actually respawn that quickly, right? There's no way you're going to be able to go for the end. You can get a couple more kills, though. Stuart weak, but does not fall. Kyrmi picks up the double kill. The Oni Warriors have to sigh, take a breath, and say, okay, maybe we should have went for some more tier 2 towers. Only Fire Giant left on 1. I mean, if Kyrmi wasn't on like a 25-second timer there, maybe you can look towards an end call. But the Titan looks pretty healthy to me. Seems like that was a bit of an overcommitment. The Oni Warriors are going to have to go back to the drawing board. Probably play for at least one more Fire Giant.
At least. And by the way, that one's going to spawn in at like 17 and a half,
yeah.
18 minutes
About
at this
18,
point.
give or take.
That was a, I'd say 14-43 Phoenix from the Oni Warriors. Kyrmi trying to take any farm he can, but Netrioid removes all of that, at least on this end. Blue buff can be stolen. That's good news. Pick on a Netrioid would be even better, but Monkey Toss clips the wall for Kyrmi.
Who put that there?
Who put this wall here? I don't remember this wall being as wide as it was, you know, a game ago. Oni Warriors. They've lost some of their gold lead. That's because nearly everybody died. Continuing their push up the middle lane. Panitom just now losing out on Fire Giant buff, so respawning in just under a minute.
Pegon and SOT have double just about anyone on the map's damage.
That does not surprise me one bit.
Nope, they're just W keying, man. That is all they are doing. They're not going to stop any chance they can. There is a bit of a rotation. Look, the team isn't even with them, though. That's the crazy part. SOT and Pegon are by themselves here. There's a massive rotation from the Gladiators coming. SOT's going to ult. My question is, does he actually retreat, or are they going to end up fighting this? They might have to fight it, actually.
Oh, Kyrmi jumps over. Fear No Evil is there. SOT will go down, maybe. Needs a little bit of extra help. Snoopy dives on top of Pegon. Pegon is fighting back, but Pegon's gone. Ooh. Damage from the skewer, still not enough.
Kyrmi has blink.
Oh, never mind. Who cares? It doesn't matter. Fire Giant's on the right side. Everybody was just baiting for this opportunity. Kyrmi does get a teleport in. Overhead Smash will get the job done. Gilded Gladiators kill 2 of the Warriors, but The rest of the Warriors get a Fire Giant, and
Kana dashed
Kana
in.
as well. Couple of crits in from Panitom, and he's as good as dead. Rampage for the Mercury. The Gladiators got their answer back. Unfortunate that they lost one. Will be able to get this tier 2 tower as an extra bit of a benefit, but the Oni Warriors are taking 2 Fire Giants in under 18 minutes.
Yep, turns out the kill on a shot was big. There's still a 5-0 Mercury running around that you got to deal with as well. Tier 2 on right finally is going to be looked at here from the Oni Warriors. 18 minutes into this one, J-Mac. They are making some, honestly, some pretty big misplays, but it hasn't came back to bite them too hard as far as the gold goes. Genetic says, hey, do I even have to run? The mid-Phoenix is being done as we speak by SOT.
Frenzy number 1 popped, mid-Phoenix down. Kana's HP about 40% lower. Panitom for the chance to use that Sonic Boom through as many as he can. Sot will just walk in. Kyrmi, Fear No Evil on Genetics, but it's just Genetics who's affected. He'll even pop the shell, pull Kyrmi back in, and take him down with the root after. The Gilded Gladiators lose their jungler, their mid-Phoenix, and maybe their right Phoenix right after. Netrioid walks up, take a couple of shots, but the Emperor's Armor pickup by Jake is what's keeping this one alive and making it a bit more threatening. Sonic Boom to the back by Panitom. Stuart is gone. Pegon credit for that one. Jake thrown against the wall and into the ground. Pegon with the double kill. Snoopy and Kana, the only 2 alive to try and defend this one. We've seen 2v5s before, but there's extra frenzy from Pegon to keep this fight going. Titan pulled back, and the Oni Warriors, a 5-stack, will move in. Snoopy does not have ultimate. Kana has his, but Kana is already dead, and so is Snoopy, thrown against the wall. And it will be a Titan push for the Oni Warriors. They said 21 minutes. Nah, that ain't fast enough. How about sub 20? The Oni Warriors 3-0.
I can't believe they were in a position where they tried to go for the 15-minute end call as well. That's just absolutely wild. Insane pace set by the Oni Warriors. And unfortunately for the Gilded Gladiators, another quick loss.
And that's it.
Yeah, I mean, what do you want me to say?
They got Pegon is diving tier 1. He's walking through tier 1 tower to invade red buff at level 4.
They were triple stunned in tier 2 at 6 minutes and did not die.
Kyrmi didn't even have a speed buff up, and Pegon and Panitom are walking at speed buff.
Kana got soloed twice before.
Oh man, we're just checklisting everything. This is a tough game. I don't know what needs to change for the Gilded Gladiators. Don't fight the Oni Warriors. The Oni Warriors are just really good at Smite. I think we established that before. In fact, go back to the waiting room a couple weeks ago, or no, I think it was the recap from Gore a couple of weeks ago, and just pull this clip of the Oni Warriors are good, and just leave that there, because the Oni Warriors just shown that they are still remaining a top team. 1 loss is not enough to slow these guys down. It's 3-0 for the Warriors. We'll throw it back over to Des to break it down.
The Oni Warriors, pretty good at Smite, huh?
19 minutes, man.
Yeah.
Well, what do I don't want to kick them while they're down.
Honestly, you know what? Depending on how long this desk will take, you can maybe just minute by minute break that.
That's messed up. Yeah, man. The Warriors were better, and the Gladiators could not hang. And 19 minutes. Death segments today have lasted longer.
You're not wrong.
I don't know what to say about that one besides back to the drawing board. You know? Yeah.
Keep your chin up, though.
Yeah. Good luck on the ride home.
Man. I like watching the Warriors play. I'll say that much. It's just fun to watch. They set a different pace. And I think that what we've really gotten to see out of them has been a lot of fun from the solo lane today. We got a lot of SOT highlights right here. But I think game 1 maybe was my favorite.
Dude, we got to go all the way back to game 1. Surely there's something we can latch on to.
Yeah, they won. You told me not to kick anybody while they're down.
Yeah,
you know, hype them up.
And they are so down.
The casters were already talking about Pegon.
The casters checklisted everything in their mini post game before we could even get to the desk. Like,
Charlie stole it all, really.
Was that like a 13-minute Fire Giant, something like that?
Yeah, they were rushing it real quick.
Yeah.
Honestly, the only thing that they missed out on, I would have liked to see him there at 10 minutes, only because I wanted to see it. Like, I want a team that breaks that 10:30 record. I don't know what kind of comp you need to burn a fire giant faster than 30 seconds when you're 10 minutes in, but that probably, I mean, admittedly, that one's probably not it, but that could have been a step in the right direction. 6-3-7 for Sot, 7-0 and 9 for Panitom, and then a ton of assists, 999 for 4 of the players. Yeah, they play good. They play good.
Yeah, so Pegon did 24,000. I think that's more than any 3 gladiators put together in that match, which is, I don't know, it's probably not so good. Pegon was like, at one point, I went to the restroom after the death segment. I got a drink. I made some chai. I was enjoying my latte. I sat back down. We were about 3 minutes into the game, and I couldn't tell which side of the map was the Oni Warriors side of the map. I didn't know which one they loaded in on.
It was
because Pegon's pathing through the tower. There was one point they just Pegon like baton passes with Snoopy. They just like miss me high, hit me low, walk through the tower. I'm gonna go invade your speed buff now, and that was like 4 minutes in, and nothing got better. It stayed that bad for the whole game.
Well, you know what? I feel like there was a real highlight moment. Maybe it was the peak. We'll have to find out. But it was a pentakill in game 1 that ends up going. And then maybe an argument over maybe what could have been 2 pentakills or, you know, separated between 2 players or both on one, which, you know, maybe we can find out from the horse's mouth what exactly that's going to be. But we got Sot, I believe, standing by ready for an interview.
That's right. We got SOT, the guy who actually did get 1 pentakill, and I'll start it with there. Did Pegon steal the first of the 2, or did you steal Pegon's pentakill? Well, what's the discussion there?
You know, I mean, I feel like he stole mine, but he thinks I stole his. But, I mean, in the end, it was like a team effort, and it took both of us to defend that tie-in. But one of us did get like a 5-man Aegis into like, you know, blocking all their damage, and that was me. And so I think I did more of the work. I also got a triple kill, and I saved his life, so... I mean, what did he do? I mean, I think he got like a crit or 2, hit a few autos. That's about it. So, I mean, but it was a group effort. You know, it was a dual effort. So,
able to get the 2v5 defense, then you're able to get the pentakill that you deserved immediately afterward. Went out game number 1. I want to pull into Picks and Bans game number 3 because you see the first few bans go through, and then I just hear this large roar coming from what I can only imagine was your booth. Was this because the Freya get banned? Is that what that noise was that I was hearing?
Yes, man. We're trying to play Freya support again for the second time. We're trying to pick it, and we're like, okay, we'll brief our bans because like we'll just ban SoloOrTroll so we can first pick the Freya. Like hopefully they won't ban it. And we're like, there's no way they ban it, and they banned it again, or they banned it, and something similar happened the last set. We're gonna play Freya support in the King's Sword game, but I think they picked it, and we're like, dang, we just want to play Freya support just one time. You know, one of our fine viewers, I think his name is Incon. I think he gifted like a few subs for a God request, so we wanted to you know fulfill his request.
I mean, from what I'm gathering on the pattern is don't go up 2-0 if you want to play the Freya support because it's happened both times when you're up 2-0. Maybe drop a game in the middle of those, you might have a better chance, but it seems that that's kind of the pattern I'm at least noticing here, Sot.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if we're down 0-2 versus J Dragons, we could probably pick Freya support third game and probably end up reverse sweep.
We can only see whenever you get to it at that point, though. Congrats on the pentakill today. Congrats on the win. Maybe go back to streaming again. What was that, like an 8-hour stream you pulled before this one that I saw?
Yeah, about 8 hours. My schedule was flipped, so I wake up at like 11 p.m., but it works out.
Wild. I'll never understand it, though. Again, congratulations on the matchups today. We'll throw it back over to the desk.
I guess good night to Sot. Myth, I don't know about you. I had to jump under the desk here to avoid catching some strays, bro. They were flying.
He gave Incon the fan treatment. Like, that's crazy. Yo, one of my viewers, Incontinentia, just gifting some subs.
I'm surprised he didn't lock onto the reverse sweep dragon comment. It was so good.
Are we gonna stop him? Like we can't stop him.
Nobody can. Did you just see that set?
One
team so far has. You know what? That actually does lead into some interesting conversation because Leviathans looked good up against them and were able to find the win. Nobody else was, at least not this week. 6-0 for the Warriors. An unfortunate 0-3 week for the Gladiators. So they're going to be done and dusted. Dragons Hounds is going to be coming up next. Oh, man, that means they probably heard that part of the interview.
They're definitely in the lobby right now. Sot's going to have to walk past them. You know what? They're not going to stop him either.
Yeah, good point. And that's actually, I was looking at some of the future of the schedule. I've got to find out when Ferryman play the Warriors. I believe this next Friday they will be going up directly against the Leviathans, which is going to be a very, very fun one to watch. But we got to find someone to do a little more. I know, like, I was saying something about how losses are, like, maybe good for them.
Some losses
I don't know if they're
good.
They're going to take them,
though. There is, learning moments in all things. I don't know that there were a ton in that set.
You know what? I'd be inclined to agree. Warriors only have one set. Where is it? I gotta find this first. Oni versus Ferryman, October 21st. That's the day. It's the second set that day. So that's what you're gonna want to be here. That's about 2 weeks from yesterday. So make sure that you're hanging in for that one, because that's the one I think that is gonna be incredible. What do you mean?
2 weeks from yesterday?
Yeah.
13 days.
Which one would you prefer? I like 2 weeks from yesterday more. Because yesterday was Saturday. Okay, it's 2 Saturdays from now.
Yeah, that's good too.
We figured it
yeah,
out.
2 Saturdays from now.
2 Saturdays from now. October 21st.
Maybe they'll bleed. Who
regular
knows?
date, the second set. That'll be a fun one. But we still got one more to go this week. It's going to be the Hounds and the Dragons coming up next.